Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Freaky Fast Broadcasting, and we got a special twist tonight here on some racing as we have the Underdog Racing League here at the Monza Oval. And guess what, guys? Not only the Monza Oval here in Italy, we're turning right on the oval instead of left. So got things a little backwards tonight for some all-star racing here at the Underdog Racing League with the Cup cars. They normally race in the truck series here on these Wednesday nights, but man, it's going to be fantastic to see these drivers do battle. As I'm Zach Hall from the booth here tonight, and we need to give a special shout out to our sponsors here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting that help keep the lights on here at the broadcast. But we want to give a shout out to ButtKicker. Every game deserves a truly immersive experience. The ButtKicker Gamer 2 lets you feel every detail, from the subtle footsteps to the rumble of a V10 powered race car, from ambient environmental effects to the power of a nearby explosion. By moving a physical mass instead of only air, the Gamer 2 provides instant, accurate, powerful base response, and it's all perfectly synced with every game with no additional software required. So make sure you go to ButtKicker.com to feel what you've been missing. And you can also use Freaky Fast 20 minutes, Freaky with 2 E's, to get 20% off at ButtKicker.com with any purchase. So make sure you go check them out and use that promo code. The Freaky Fast sent you there. But thank you to ButtKicker for being a proud sponsor here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But man, we got a fantastic night of all-star racing here at the Monza Oval. Joining me up in the booth tonight will be Sam Dyer, and we'll have Robert Moyer Jr. running the cameras in the background. Sam, thanks for joining me up here tonight for the Racing League. But man, turning right and we're at the Monza Oval. What could go wrong?
Yeah, I mean, everyone complains that NASCAR only goes left and sometimes right on road courses, and now we get to see what they're like going Going right as you see the explosions there. That's the types of wrecks that we could possibly be seeing here at this all-star race. Luckily, there is no damage that the drivers are going to be dealing with, but certainly popping off the track and going off the course and being stuck off course can make you have to take a tow, which is something these drivers going to worry about moving forward. For tonight's all-star race, it's going to might be a long one here tonight. We have the potential of 6 heat races and a B main for these drivers is for our last chance get into the featured race, and for all of the B main as well as the heat races, 10 laps for those races, and then for our featured race, 40 laps here tonight. And Zach, it's going to be a long one, and it should be a blast to watch though.
Oh, it's gonna be a blast. You definitely hit the nail on the hair there, head there, Sam. But man, as this track is just so wild. I mean, and not only that, we're turning right. I still just trying to get this through my head. You said that NASCAR people complain about NASCAR only turning left. We talk about road courses going left and right. Well, tonight we're only turning right. So, ooh, it's going to be some fight for these drivers. And I tell you what, it'll be interesting to see who comes out of the win with a win here tonight and see what they say about winning a race on a right hand oval. I think they would be very confused by that if you told them a couple weeks ago they'd do this.
Yeah, it's really going to be a shocker for a lot of these drivers. We were told by Justin earlier in the race, Stunner, who's told us that a lot of the drivers are kind of shocked on how this race is going to drive. They really, it just feels so unnatural that their arms also are just kind of feeling awkward at driving right so often. But this track, it is a beast to handle. The corners extremely tight as it is a 2.64-mile course. The straightaway is super long, giving you opportunities to make passes, but then it kind of funnels into these corners where you got to be careful and make sure you hit your marks or you're going to find yourself in the outside wall.
Yeah, this place is nothing but dangerous. As I would say, as a race car driver. I mean, you just got a guardrail out there. I mean, this place is historic. It's gonna be so much fun. It's so old and bumpy. The bottom lane has got different character to it than the top. I think you're gonna see a lot of drafting and side by side racing here at this racetrack. I really don't know what to expect to see here. I mean, if we were going left, I would think I'd have a little bit better clue of what's going to play out. But with these cars, going right, they're actually set up, looking at the setup for them to go left. So these drivers are fighting what the setup wants to do. So this is really interesting to watch. And I can't wait to see who can muscle a car that's meant to go left, right. So we can see who can figure out to do it, who can figure out how to do it backwards, I guess we could say.
Yeah, I've been watching these guys during practice, and it looks like when they're single file, there's only about 3 cars in line. They handle decently well. I mean, they're able to at least stay going straight. When you try to get side by side in these corners, it is very dangerous, and you got to be careful. Some drivers try to go 3 wide at times entering the corners, and it is almost impossible. Either the middle car or the inside car hits a bump, pushes them up, and it takes out the whole entire field. So that's going to be something else for us to watch out for. Is the big one looming over for probably every single race we see and all the heat races, the B main, as well as our featured race later on tonight.
Yeah, a lot of heat races and learning, I guess we could say, for us tonight. We're going to learn through each of these heats what to expect. And like you said earlier, no damage. So these drivers are going to have a lot of leeway there to be able to make mistakes, get into stuff, and just hopefully not get slowed up too much by that mistake. But man, I'm interested to see who can qualify the fastest too. I mean, because qualifying here, we got 5 minutes and 2 laps. It's going to be pretty interesting to watch.
Yeah, we got 30 seconds to go, and things are going to change. And uh, yeah, and something that if you haven't noticed is for this all-star race, they did switch it up. They've now are in the cup cars. Usually on Wednesday night, these guys are in the trucks, but swapping it up here tonight, it might be to the fact that they feel like, hey, why not make it more dangerous with a car that has more horsepower and throw it out on here on this track?
It's definitely a change up for sure. And it's also interesting to see does this produce does this lay under a super speedway type aerodynamics because of the updates and stuff. Do we see side drafting become a factor here? We'll have to see. I'm not sure what exact aerodynamics here this is playing under. I'm not sure if it's under the intermediate, style aerodynamics we have, but we'll have to see because I mean this is a super speedway to me. I mean it's pretty much Daytona and Talladega, just very old.
Yeah, if anything, I would say that this is kind of a smaller, more narrow type version of the new iRacing Super Speedway that came out a couple of months ago. So it's scary just because of the way the banking is. Now, qualifying is underway. I do want to let the audience know that we will not be able to see the drivers qualifying. There was a little bit of miscommunication on us getting set up in the session. So we will see the heat races, but qualifying underway, 4 minutes still to go. And those times will come up once it is over. And I'll try to give updates on where drivers are at during qualifying. But certainly, Zach, this is a very bumpy course. And with bumps comes the unknown. And also coming off these corners, it is quite aggressive coming off of at least turn 4 of the banking onto the straightaway.
It's almost like some Dover style stuff here with the way the baking transitions and exits into the corner. Some you out of 4, I guess technically here tonight since we're going right. It's almost like you launch up out of it and kind of do that. It's kind of a similar the way the transitions are a little bit different than what we're normally used to, and it could cause some problems in that. I think that's off the corner exits where you're going to see the most issues because of that upsetting of the car on the exit. So all night it'll be interesting to see who can master those bumps and get the right character out of this track because man, I tell you what, it's going to be a learning experience here for me in the booth tonight to see who can master this. And it's all about bragging rights, man. That's what it's about here tonight for the All Star race.
Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of these drivers hoping to say, "Hey, I won going right in the Cup car as in the All-Star race." And also, these drivers are racing for a Underdog Racing League T-shirt. So instead of buying one, you get one for free by winning the All-Star race. So there's a little bit of a incentive for these guys to really push it. For qualifying, though, some drivers might be thinking about sandbagging. And the reason for that is once we get to the heat races, wherever you were the fastest, it's actually going to invert where the drivers are going to be placed during the heat race. So if you were the slowest during qualifying, you will be on top of the board whatever heat race you were placed into, which is going to be interesting to see how these drivers react wherever they get placed in the heat race.
That right there just throws a different spin onto it, inverting it like this. So does someone go out there and just run the slowest lap they possibly can? I mean, we don't know. We'll have to see. Man, I'm not normally used to these heat races, and just to let everybody know out there, heads up, it's going to be a little bit different than our normal races here on Freaky Fast with heat racing. The software we have, SDK Gaming, it doesn't really respond well to heat racing. So if you see a few little hiccups and normal things you don't see here tonight, don't be surprised because it can get a little wild with the heat racing with the data being relayed to us.
Yeah, it certainly is going to be an interesting one here tonight with all the drivers. Looks like a lot of the drivers able to put one lap down, and they feel comfortable that is the time that they're going to be having. And top of the board, it's going to be the 27 of Kevin Orlando Jr. that's going to be there. Then Mike Aleo Jr. going to be second on the board. Then the 9 machine going to be third currently, as we're still waiting for the rest of the field to put their times down. We still have a minute left in qualifying, and a driver that I have a big question mark if he's even going to get a time down. That's going to be Jason Fensler, our points leader in the Trucks League. And, he was one of those drivers that came in and said that he was feeling very unknown on how this race was going to go just because of how awkward it is turning right instead of going left.
Yeah, I tell you what, awkward for him, but it looks like he's gonna put himself on top of the board there, just as you spoke about the man. So he's put himself on top of the board here for now. Like you said, the invert coming. So that we'll see how that all shakes out here for the heat races. But right now, Finsler are looking like he's on putting himself back on top again here in the Underdog Racing League and trying to get that all-star win. That would be something. I mean, just to cap off, in your season, you want to win, those big races. And tonight, it is a wild, weird, wacky race, but it's still an all-star race, and that's a big race in my opinion. So you got to figure out how to get it done. And Finsler, we know he can get it done week in and week out.
5 more seconds left in qualifying, and it looks like no one else is going to be able to get a time down. Stunnard might be able to get a time down. No, he will not. So It's going to be Jason Fensler, top of the board. And now we wait and see as Heat 1 about to get started. And looking like we're only going to be having 3 heats because of the amount of drivers that showed up for this race. So tonight's event has slimmed down slightly, which makes the featured race a little more interesting because it says that only the driver that wins moves on to the featured race. We'll see if everyone moves on, but as the drivers getting lined up, we'll see if our we'll see where drivers get placed here as drivers are getting lined up.
I'm not getting lined up, so
Uh, Zach accidentally got registered in as a driver. So if you want, I mean, Zach, you can always, you got 0 practice. You're
Yeah.
gonna be there second place. Why not give it a whirl?
Well, I couldn't get the car ready in time. I walked into the pits. I thought I was broadcasting. And they said, "Well, you're going to be a driver tonight." And I said, "Well, look, I didn't bring my racing suit, so got to go up here in the booth tonight and be professional with you guys." But man, yeah, a little bit of a mistake there. Sorry about that. So messing their lineup up just a little bit there. That's my bad.
Oh man. Well, Justin, Justin did not put a time down, so kind of in a way sandbagging it by making sure that he's going to have the pole position. So putting yourself in the best spot, being up front. With the unknowns of this track, I mean, super speedway racing, sometimes you don't want to be the leader because the drivers behind you, they can utilize the draft and get that momentum on the backstretch. So we'll see if the 33 is going to be our leader once we get to the backstretch here and turn in lap number 1 once we get things going. But Zach, this is first race of the night. 3 heat races, then a B main, and then the featured race. This is going to be a wild night for us.
Yeah, very wild night. I also think cautions are not on. We'll find out about that. They should be off for these heat races, I believe. So if any types of wrecks happen, there will be no cautions. It's going to be straight up, no damage, like you said before. But big thing, like you were saying about the draft there, looking at qualifying times, fastest times were only 50 point into 50.6s. Fastest times at practice session around a 49.1. So draft very huge, about a 1.5 second difference there from draft to single car. So definitely gonna have to utilize that. And if you can get hooked up with somebody, do some tandem drafting and swap back and forth, you never know, you can catch up to a lead someone has out there by themselves.
Drivers are getting done with their pace lap here. Zach, I'm able to see what the grid's going to be like. Heat number 3 is going to be a blast as our producer, Robert A. Moyer, going to be pole sitter for heat number 3. So congratulations to him, but I'm pretty sure he got the same memo that you did, Zach, of a little bit too late of unknowing that he was going to be up racing.
He's getting his car ready, everybody. He's going to be out there. I think he's going to be a favorite for this thing, I think.
Well, for this race, we've got Justin Stunner, Christopher Heights, as well as Peter Johnston, David Belil, as well as Elite and Fensler going to be your grid. This is such a wild race. I've never actually been able to watch a Monza right oval here, so it's going to be a unique one for me as well. And oh boy.
It's going to be unique for sure. Watched a lot of races around Monza, but not around the right oval, that's for sure. I've seen a few around the left, going the left way, but this is a first for the right, so we'll have to see how it all plays out. We got some heat racing and some more racing after that to do, so we'll learn a little bit as we go.
And we've got ourselves still going around turn number 4. And the pace car about to pull off. Heat number 1 about to get started. As we wait and see, pace car pulls off. Green flag in the air here for the Underdog Racing All-Star Race here at the Monza Oval. They're turning right instead of left. We'll see if they can make it through turn number 1 and 2.
Great start there for the 33 just started. Like you said, he kind of almost sandbagged his way into the pole there by not qualifying. Gonna have 10 to go already, and can anybody mount a charge here? And what kind of drafting do we see as they've all lined up here off of 2 now?
Staying in line and just trying to build up their speed at this moment as you're seeing them just staying in line. Most likely A lot of them understanding we don't need to make our move on the first lap, but we certainly can get more knowledge on how the cars are going to be reacting. They still stay in line. A little bit of bump traffic. We see here as Height's going to be right on the back bumper of the 33 machine.
Wow, what racing it's already producing side by side off of 4. Look at them go over the hump out of the exit, man. They're hopping, skipping, racing 3 wide down the front straightaway now, too.
It's going to be the 9 going to be splitting them in and trying to set themselves up. Got to be careful here. Don't want to be 3 wide or get too close as they're right on top of one another battling for 3rd.
Wow, look at the move to the bottom here off the exit. Oh, man, this is great racing actually here. Monza putting on a show. Maybe we should turn right more often.
Maybe. I mean, with the way that they have to fight this wheel, like you said, the setup's more tuned for turning left. They really have to muscle their way through these corners, but you're seeing them trying to hug that white line and others just trying to run the middle groove, just where they feel the most comfortable, where the car might just be the most settled down and the bumps won't be really disturbing them at all.
Wow. As they come off of 4 there, you can see on the broadcast what a great shot that is. As you see, look at the big drafting we got going down the front straightaway. Tandem almost style drafting as they exit down here in the 1. Man, wild stuff here to start off.
I mean, Zach, it looks like the drafting model very similar to what we see at super speedways. That means we're going to have to see someone get a run and try to side draft to slow down the driver in front of them. But I don't know if Heights is just trying to push the 33 and waiting to make that aggressive move, or it looks like it's too difficult and you're not getting a big enough run to even make a move just yet.
Yeah, it's like, exactly. I think this is definitely on the super speed mile because they get there and it's almost like it stalls out. Once they get there, there's contact up front.
Stunner's going to be flipping onto the wall and sliding across. And just like that, Heights is going to be wrecked out of this thing. There are no yellows. We continue to stay green as they continue to roar around. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, no. You see the 5 and Jason Fizzler trying to get it back going there.
The 9 was able to get through and still is rocketing his way through.
Yeah, I believe he was the only car, that did not get done. Justin Stunner went over the fence. He's out of here. He had to go back to pit road. So his race, heat race done. It looks like it'll be over for him. But the 9 right here, if he can hold on, I think he'll have about a 13-second lead. Looks like.
What's going to be able to make his way, but man, also looked like Parker Johnston got forced onto pit road for a second, able to drive his way through. But those are the wrecks that we're talking about. With the way that there's only a guardrail on the outside and a little bit of a hump on the inside, you are going to be seeing flips if someone gets sideways. And now everyone's so split up. It's now the fact of, can you run down a car in front of you? I don't think Jason's got enough time. He's 16.3 seconds back from the leader. And I think the 9 car's got this race locked up as long as he doesn't make any mistakes.
Yeah, that lead is gigantic now. 16 seconds there. It's with 6 to go. It's going to take Steven Reckon to call something here. Hey, they are turning right with a car meant to go left, so you never know. This is Monza. It could happen. We could see the 9 make a mistake out front, but at the moment, it's kind of clear sailing for him. It looks like a good heat win, but Finsler hanging on the second with Will not too far behind. Johnston not too far behind that. Heights also, but Stunnard, he's a lap down. As like I said, he was out of there, man. He flipped and went off into the trees. Luckily for him, he had that reset to come out with.
Well, Stunnard might have been wrecked out of this thing, but he is in front of our leader and got to be trying to get out of the way and lets the 9 go. Yes, you're bump drafting, but with how bumpy the course is, you certainly could put yourself in an awkward situation, wrecking yourself or the drivers around you. So now we're going to be seeing our leader leading the way as the 33 now will leave 2 laps down, following suit and just waiting around.
Yeah, and even that time by Steven up front in the 9 about 3/10 quicker. I was surprised because Finsler here had the draft off the 33. So I was kind of surprised that Finsler didn't run a little bit quicker, but no damage to these cars either. That's that on. So I was about to say maybe he's got damage. But nope, he does not. There is no damage. Zach, he can't say that. So gotta get used to that one. But yeah, it looks like he's just hanging on here. 4 to go. If he can hang on a second, I'm not sure if there's an invert for the feature, which I don't believe there is. So this will set him up good for the feature.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Nine Elite going to be able to get a great job finishing up front 16 seconds. It is going down because, like you said, Venzler does have help working with the 33, and they're trying to utilize the draft. They're going to be running about a half a second to a second faster than what the 9 is, expecting them just to continue to build up speed, but just not enough time to really run down the 9. But the rest of the field, not out of this yet. They'll be putting themselves into the consolation race, otherwise known as the B main, where they still got a shot to put themselves in the featured race.
Oh no, look at the 21 of Christopher Heights here. Looks like a little problem for him down the back straight as he's slow. Unsure exactly what happened, but he looks like he's getting it back going in a little. Yeah, the speed is definitely picking up for him. So looks like a little bit of a mistake, but gonna need to go to that consolation race there to get through. But tell you what, it ain't over for him yet.
Yeah, it looked like Heights got loose out of 2, bounced off the guardrail, and that's what spun him around. That's why he was so slow. He's getting back up to speed. And, Heights did that on his own, and that's just because these cars are very touchy. I've seen them get extremely loose, and loose through the exit and entry, but tight through the center, which is so difficult for these drivers. And you're seeing the help and work teamwork of a way utilized for second place. Venzler trying to build up as much speed as possible, and now he's cut it down to almost less than 15 seconds. Those laps continue to tick away.
Laps ticking away here, but we're seeing a good little battle, even though the 33 that's coming out is a lap down. Looks like he'll get by Heights actually, so that moves him up a bit there. But we're seeing him and Venzler really stick together, and it's helping Venzler close that gap. So it's definitely 2 cars together much faster than one. I mean, up to half a second right now quicker than our leader. So we could see if it gets strung out like this in the future, we could see 2 cars hook up and make up a pretty big gap in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, just going through the corners, 5 and the 33, entering the corners, I should say, they're going about 5 to almost 8 miles per hour faster than cars that are by themselves. So drafting certainly is a key to go fast, but we are on the white flag of heat number 1. There are going to be 3 heats tonight, then a consolation race, and then the featured race later on. Each heat race and the consolation race will be 10 laps. And then our featured 40 laps around here at Monza Oval. And it's the 9 leading the way coming down the back stretch here on the final lap of heat number 1.
Well, he survived the big one, and he looks like he's going to bring it home for a heat win. He's going to get here to sit here and watch that consolation race and figure out how he's going to be able to pull it off in the feature, as he's going to go straight on through. So he's only got to make it through this final corner.
And it's going to be Stefan coming across the line, winning heat number 1 and automatically putting himself into the featured race. And now the question is, who will his competitors be moving forward? But Zach, we got to see at least one race of what this is like. We got to see 4 laps of pack racing, and then they got strung out after the big one happening. And what were some of your thoughts watching these drivers in heat number 1?
Well, definitely numbers. We can say that numbers definitely are better than 1. So if you get spread out, definitely need to get with another car if you want to make pace up or make up ground for that feature. And also just, man, how racy it actually was. I was surprised how well people could use the bottom. We did see a wreck happen with the drivers getting side by side there. But, man, it was actually pretty racy. So that bodes well for these next few heats here to see which driver can figure out something maybe for that feature to make even better passes.
Well, the drivers are getting gridded up here for heat number 2, excuse me. That's going to be Trevor Ehart, Scott Karenberg, as well as Lance Durham, James Loveland, Nick Alvens, and Kevin Orlando Jr. going to be your heat number 2 lineup, and they're inverted as well. So the fastest guy is going to be the back of the pack. We'll see if they can make their way forward. And, we got to see heat 1. This time we've got 6 cars instead of 5, so it's now going to be even on drivers on the inside and the outside. We'll see if we see these drivers stay side by side for a longer distance, or if everyone gets single filed up immediately in lap number 1.
Well, Earhart was fastest in practice, so maybe he had something figured out, because looking at practice, him and Steven, who was our winner of that first heat there, those 2 were 3/10 quicker than anybody out there. So I imagine they probably drafted together for that lap. So maybe those 2 have something figured out. So when you get together, just to go that little bit more faster. We'll have to see though here as they pace down the back straightaway. A lot of good drivers here in this heat. And man, I'm excited to see who's going to push their way through here, or who's going to be actually having to go into that consolation race and fight their way through.
And some factor we haven't really talked about, and that is track temp and outside temp. Outside temp, it is 78 degrees, partly cloudy, but track temp, 104 degrees. And with how bouncy it is, it just makes it more slick. But Zach, with it being that hot, do you think that's also another factor on why we might be seeing some of these drivers being loose by themselves?
Yeah, definitely. It's this track probably has so little grip. First of all, just the surface is so old. When you give this such an old surface, it's going to have a lot of low grip level tendencies to it. And with this 104-degree track temp, like you said, that's only going to multiply that factor. And I bet you tire wear won't be even that great around here, just due to how old the surface is. So bumpy, a lot of character. These drivers are going to have to fight their hardest here, and it's definitely hot and slick here in Italy.
Certainly is gonna be an interesting one as the drivers are getting set. Pace car pulls off. And Ehart, Kernberg, they're gonna be leading the way as green flag out in the air. Heat number 2 is green, and it's gonna be Ehart getting a great shove there by the 88, trying to just get himself moving us forward as fast as possible.
And I believe that is Lance Durham there in that second position in that 88. So he's up to that second position, third at that good push. You see that initially there as it got Earhart way out there. But who is that in the bottom there coming by? Kevin Orlando Jr. in the 27. He's flying up the inside.
Yeah, Orlando Jr. certainly seen him at super speedways being willing to be aggressive, blocking and making moves. So would not be surprised. But here comes Durham as well. Going to be ducking it extremely low onto the apron, trying to make that low line work even better. The 3 wide coming through the center of 3 and 4, and it's going to be the driver in the middle making it through. Kevin Orlando Jr. looks like he'll be trying to lead this lap.
What a pass. Wow, you just threaded the needle as the 25 got to the wall. The 27 said, well, he slowed up. I'm going through the middle. Carried that momentum, made the pass off of 4. Now let's see if Earhart can do anything about that.
Even the competitors that are not even in this race chiming in on that move, they were a little bit hyped. You see it as they're still side by side coming out of corner number 2. It's going to be Ehart as well as Orlando still side by side. They've got 4 cars in line waiting for their chance to pounce on our leaders.
And you can see them there. They were really working that side drive, slowed each other down so much. You see Lance Durham here with the head of steam in the 91. Down here to 3 and 4, right to the back bumper. And it's just so bumpy and wild and fast. This is intense action here.
It just looks like the outside. Yes, if you were able to hold on, it's great timing, but Orlando Jr. extremely loose out of the corner, able to hold on, and we all stay straight. Orlando Jr. has to get back up to speed so he doesn't lose the draft here, though. A little bit of contact there. Kernberg, he's getting shoved to the inside.
Oh, man, you got to be careful too. The entry there into 1 is pretty much a half wall. And if you hit that wall there, you're going to be a dead stop, and you're definitely going to lose the pack there from that. So Orlando Jr. getting into the wall and then getting a little bit loose after he got off the wall. Wild action here as he pushes. Wow, he's pushing Kernberg down the back straightaway here.
Might have given him a little bit of shove to the inside, give them both a little bit of a scare, but now working together, trying to make that inside line, bumping the middle line as they are staying low and trying to get the run off the corner. This is the racing that we love to see for All-Star Racing. The drivers giving no cares and just sending it through these corners.
This is exactly what we want to see. You definitely are right about that. What racing here as they head down the front straightaway. Man, what type of runs these guys can get. The side draft definitely working, and I tell you what, the tandem draft working also beautiful.
At the start of lap number 4, we're running 10 of these 7 laps to go, and you just have a feeling it's building up. These drivers cannot keep up this type of racing for this long, and you know the big one's looming. We saw it in heat number 1. It just spread out the whole entire field. Zach, I mean, how much longer can they race like this?
If they do this for the next 7 laps, everybody here has got to give them because they're just so close. I mean, they're flirting with disaster here, Sam, and they definitely are putting on a show here for us. But I don't know if they can do it for the next 7 laps straight.
Loveland's going to be into the outside wall, and no, into the pits. Just like that, it's going to be Al Vance as well as Kernberg, and Kernberg contact once again, and we're left to 4 up front, trying to battle to get the win here in heat number 2.
I think Careberg just literally slid into his pit box upside down.
I mean, he's still trying to get service done, and he got it back onto all four. Alves able to still continue going, but like we said, only 4 drivers left up front. And even if it was just 2 or 3, 4 still means the big one looming over their heads.
Yeah, we had 2 competitors out of it now after we just alluded to something happening, and it literally happened right as we said it here. Off of 4 now, a 4-car train. Earhart looks like he's going to try to make a move here, but nothing yet. But here he goes. He gets to the outside. Can he side draft by?
Earhart going to be going to the outside, going to be trying to get by Durham. Durham's going to be rocking it all the way to the grass practically, which is going to be pushing him up into the center. Blocking slightly there is going to be Orlando Jr. as they got to be careful. That type of a move, you don't want to touch the grass or you're going to be taking everyone out.
This racing is fantastic, man. Who would have thought at a right-hand track like this, it would just race this well? I mean, this is put these drivers in adversity and they will figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the bumps in the corners, it's making it to where you have to take a lane and hope that, there's not as many bumps. It looks like the center of the corners where the middle lane is where you want to be, because if you are anywhere else, the outside, you're close to the outside wall, you're most likely going to drift up because of the tightness through the center of the corner. If you're too low, you're bogging yourself down as you're seeing that inside lane just pulling away. Earhart going to be able to pulling Orlando Jr. with them and able to stay up front. As it's still a 4-car pack, as we're now 4 laps to go here.
Well, got the 4-car breakaways, they say here in Super Speedway Racing, but these 4 here going dueling down the back straight. You can see the side draft. You get side by side with someone, and you just slow down. As contact down the back, that could have been detrimental.
Oh yeah, especially with how loose and just floating. It seems like it's now bouncing off the wall. It's going to be Earhart, who continues to just seems like he's struggling slightly here after that slight contact that he has, but he'll settle it down. Durham as well going to be settling it down. Loveland, who's scraped off the outside wall a couple of times, still somehow connected. Hasn't made his push just yet.
Well, I tell you what, Durham is doing a lot of blocking in that 91 back here right on him. He was covering off him, but side by side for the leader here on the 2. The 25 makes something happen here as they get on the back straightaway. They stall each other out here. The big runs go come from behind as the contact up 2.
Oh, and there's a hole that's trying to be made. Durham pushing his way through.
Oh, man.
Oh, they can't be 3 wide here. They got to settle this out, and they do. Oh, boy. Oh, man. Oh, the contact. Orlando Jr. able to hold on somehow with that contact, but doesn't Durham as they all collide behind.
I tell you what, that heat right there was awesome to see. These guys made it pretty far, racing wild. Oh, and there you see Durham there getting around. And there goes Nick Alves in the 24 by as wild stuff here. Loveland, he's going to have to get picked up here. And Alves is not going to be too far behind Loveland. Can they get hooked up here in the final 2 laps? I don't know if they can make up the distance on Orlando Jr. though with the battle.
Yeah, I mean, it's more so the fact that Loveland's got to get up to speed. Alves has been about 5 seconds behind the pack of 4 for this whole entire time ever since he made contact with Kernberg. But I just think the distance is a little bit too far for them to catch up. But it certainly isn't going to come from a lack of effort as Loveland trying to get up to speed and try to get back to the back bumper of the 24.
Wow, this has been a wild day. Like I said, just not enough time. But I tell you what, in that 40-lap race, that's a good amount of laps. If this was to happen with 5 to 6, 7 laps ago, it could be pretty climatic here as these drivers go get hooked up together, see if they can run down that leader. And then if you're the leader, you're almost a sitting duck.
Oh yeah, especially if there's enough time for those drivers behind you to get hooked up and moving, they certainly can run you down. Track temp luckily has gone down 2 degrees, so helping the drivers out as we're on this white flag. Kevin Orlando Jr., after some bumps and bruises through this heat race, the one driver that survived both of the massive wrecks, and he might have gotten loose a couple of times after some bumps, but coming out of 4, this 27 machine looking solid and clean to be coming across the line, winning heat number 3. We've got 2 more technical heat races in a way. We got heat number 3 and our consolation race before we get to the 40-lap featured race. but Kevin Orlando Jr. winning it out here in heat number 2.
Man, great win there for Orlando Jr. there to pull it off. Alves coming back there. He just stayed in it, got back to second. But Orlando Jr. going straight through here as we head to the final heat race before we head on to the consolation. But, man, I tell you what, that race right there was so wild. I mean, the first one we got wild in the first 3 or 4 laps, and then we had that wreck. That one lasted all the way up to 3 to go. So maybe this heat 3 can push it all the way to that 10-lap mark.
Well, our favorite producer that Lee calls Oz behind the curtain, he got the pole here, but not able to race our heat number 3. Robert A. Moyer going to be getting the pole position, but going to be gifting that spot to, I believe, to Evan Baker, as it's going to be Eddie Watermouth, Dylan Waterman, Walterman, as well as Ian Baker, Brad Ringer, and Mike Aleo Jr. going to be your driver in 6th place. But it's only going to be 5 drivers racing in this heat number 3, our final heat before our consolation race, to see who are going to be our final drivers in the featured race.
Well, a lot of pressure here to not get in that consolation race, go straight on through, see who can pull it off. Our pole setter was not able to make it, so unfortunate for him here is he's got some cameras to run anyways here at Monza, so he's got a little bit of work to do with us. But, man, I've been kind of mind blown how good the racing's been here at Monza tonight. I mean, shout out to the drivers first of all for putting on a show for us here, but all you fans out there for tuning in, thank you tonight. How wild and how crazy is this for y'all? What do y'all think about this right turn racing here at Monza? It's been fantastic so far for me, I think.
Yeah, no, it has been great when they've been able to stay in pack and trying to make some very aggressive moves. It's been fun. When they get strung out, you kind of wish there was a caution there to get them back restacked up, but that's what the featured race is for them to get stacked in. Scheme of the night, I think Eddie Waldmouth trying to take that award. He's rocking the TB12 scheme, and they won the Super Bowl. Maybe it's going to give some luck to this driver to win the race here tonight.
Well, I would never bet against Tom Brady after what he did to my Falcons. So I tell you, if you got Tom Brady paint scheme, you better live up to that hype.
Eddie's usually rocking the Bama scheme, so switching it up here for the All-Star race gives these drivers a chance. Again, they usually are racing trucks here Wednesday nights, but for the All-Star race, switching to the Cup cars here for the Monza Turn Right Oval. And it's been interesting, completely different from what we're used to. And it was a shock to the drivers once practice started for them to be driving right. But, it's from Heat 1 and Heat 2. They've really adapted well. We'll see how Heat number 3 goes here.
Adapt is the name of the game here tonight at Monza. Got to adapt if you're going to be able to get the most out of this Cup car here. The 5 cars going to do battle here in Heat number 3. Sam, I tell you what, if we see what we did last heat, we can't complain because those guys just put on one heck of a show. Let's see what these 5 drivers can do now.
Oh, it's only going to get better and better as the night rolls on. Remember, we got the consolation race, so all the drivers that did not lock in, so that's 3 out of, I believe, our 17 drivers. So we're going to have a 14-car pack for our consolation race to see who's going to be making it into the featured race. Pace cars off, and Heat number 3 is about to get underway. It's green, green, green here for Heat 3. As Wildmouth going to be trying to pull away. Waldermouth's doing a great job, and he's trying to get clear, almost clear to drop down below the 46 as they're going into turn number 1.
Eddie with a great start there. But look at the 46 at Dylan Walterman fighting on the bottom. You've seen it. Oh, 3 wide almost. Probably sticking in the middle. Decided better over there for Ian Baker. We know Baker very aggressive. Contact.
Oh no! 2 go, 3 go! As Ringer's now going to be pulling away as well with Walterman, and Aleo Jr. was not able to scave away freely. He went for a little bit of a ride, and now he'll be losing time. Now it's just a 2-car pulling away from everyone else. Oh no!
As our producer can't use the Tom Brady car, not doing well. So, man, wild start to it. But can these top 2 keep together, or do they make a mistake racing each other and then put it back in the hands of maybe possibly one of these other drivers. We'll have to see. But man, off of 2 here, it's going to be a 2-man show here for heat number 3.
I mean, Brad Ringer, I think in my eyes has to be the underdog for me, and probably the dark horse pick for myself, just because Ringer, the last time we went to a very odd racetrack, that was dirt racing at Knoxville in the trucks a couple of weeks back, and Ringer dominated that. This is another very awkward and non-usual racing style for drivers, and maybe the 76 has something up his sleeve as he makes the pass for the lead, getting by Walterman, and now slowly pulling away.
Yeah, I tell you what, you know, yeah, like you said, last time I seen Brad Ringer, he won at Knoxville. I was unfortunately not able to be there and see it, but you know, Brad Ringer, they called him the Dirt Ringer. I'm pretty sure there that night. But man, he's making right-hand turns look like they're pretty easy too now here, as him and Walterman. It's gonna come down to timing here. I don't know if you want to be in the lead or you don't want to be in the lead. The question is, can you block well enough, or do you get side drafted? With this side draft, it becomes a lot more even, in my opinion. You know, these drivers are going to be able to side draft each other back and forth, and it's going to come down to time.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing that's kind of nerve-wracking, though, is if you do take each other out. We've already seen drivers being pushed into pit road. We've also seen drivers go off of the track surface and having to take a tow. So there's a chance we could see both these drivers taking each other out. And it would be Baker that is the closest, 25.5 seconds back in third place. We see both these drivers have extreme troubles of somehow being knocked off course. It would be the 88 sitting pretty, but still 7 laps to go. It's a long race for these guys, and we'll see how well they can keep themselves steady here, as Ringer still leads the way. And looking through the field, it looks like Michael Leo Jr. decides to park it after being involved in a wreck. He'll be waiting until oh no! Ringer gets spotted. There they go. The wreck I was talking about that could really stall them out. And here comes Ian Baker. He's flying down the backstretch. He needs to get up to speed, as Walterman's finally getting up to speed. So does Ringer, but Ringer's starting to stall out. He might be a roadblock, as here comes the 88 into turn number 3.
Oh no. Looks like Ringer got it going before Baker gets there, but like you said, up the speed is going to be the key as we ride on board.
Oh no, here they come, flying around the 76 machine. And now the difference, it's 12.1 seconds, and it is going down extremely quickly. You got to remember, Walterman's got to be figuring out how to get himself back up to speed, let alone trying to be fast enough, because he is being ran down. If anything, if I was Baker, I might whoa up just a little bit. Let the 12 behind you catch up. Use the draft. You can easily catch up to the 46 if you work together. And I don't know if that's what the goal is to slow down, because it looks like Baker's just seeing that telemetry going down and feeling comfortable and confident that he can run down the 46 on his own.
Yeah, I think he needs to make that call to slow down. You're going to need the help of somebody else. I do think it's a little too less of time. We're seeing about a half second up to about a full second of difference lap time with that draft, and right now at 5 they go about a 10-second lead there, as what we'll see time by here as it cuts down. Yeah, exactly, or 8.8 second lead. So it's on the edge there, but I just don't think enough time. But man, I think something like this could play out possibly in that race. But we also, I believe, have cautions in the future, so that could shake things up also to get it all spread back again.
Yeah, it certainly is going to really change things up, and it looks like Baker has recognized that he's got to slow down if he even wants a chance, which he has done so. 5 laps to go, coming to 4 laps to go, but it might have been just a little bit too late for the 88 and the 12 to be hooked up. That's Dylan Walterman. Last time we were at a super speedway, it was the 46 that won that race, rocking the Freaky Fast decal truck car. We'll see how if the 46, that luck of winning at super speedways continues on. But they are now on the same straightaway whenever they're on the front stretch and the back stretch. This is going to be a close run down to the finish.
Yeah, Walterman there trying to hang on to this thing here in the final moments of heat race number 3 to go straight onto that feature, skip the consolation race. So he's trying to do his best here. And like you said, I mean, did well at the super speedway there at Talladega not too long ago, and looking fantastic in here tonight. A little bit of contact between him and Brad Ringer, though, that brought that out. And just hard racing here on this wild track is, I thought second and third, they might work together a little bit, but I think they're going to race.
Yeah, not really staying in line. I think it's the more so difficult to try to work with one another at the moment. I mean, there's certain drivers that really can stick and work with one another. And there's others where, certain driving styles just don't mesh. Some drivers are able to hold lines very still, and other drivers are like that. Some drivers are just wobbling all over the place, and you really just cannot build up the speed like you could with other machines. But you now are starting to see the 88 and the 12, they're getting a lot more hooked up now, coming out of turn number 2, but it's a little bit too late with 3 laps to go, and the gap almost up to 9 seconds.
Yeah, it's in these straightaways. You got to be able to almost get to that back bumper, and it's almost got to be done by the car in front dragging the brake a little bit to break that bubble that we have in this package with the super speedway. So if you can break that bubble, get to the rear bumper, you don't want to be on it in the corners. That's for sure. That's especially these bumps already upsetting the car. That's probably not going to be a good equation there. As they'll have 2 to go, but there's a car wrecked.
Oh no! Oh boy, that's it's gonna be Ringer extremely slow. It looks like he had issues coming out of 4 on that last lap, and it's continues to ender at the 76. But it's been odd, yeah. Really, Baker and Wildermouth have not been able to really keep each other connected, and they were losing time even utilizing the draft. They're finally starting to make ground up, but it's a little bit too late. It's we're coming to the white flag, and you got to stay on the course. Don't get in the dirt. That's going to slow you down.
Yeah, and I think that contact that Brad Ringer there on the front straightaway, that might have been between the and him too. So that may have been their second little incident between those two. So that could maybe spill over if Ringer does well in that consolation race. So looks like Walterman going to hang on there as the white flag comes out.
White flag in the air. I mean, it's all-star racing here at Monza Oval. There's no points on the line. If you win the featured race, you get a t-shirt of the Underdog Racing League. So there is something to go for. But, if you're getting a little bit irritated during this race, I mean, you can certainly get that aggression out. I mean, if there's no points on the line, you're not hurting anyone else.
Perfect time to use it, as they would say. So I think that's something you're going to see here tonight. A little bit of aggression for sure coming down to that feature race. But so far, the heat's shown a lot of great stuff so far, but it looks like Walterman, like I said, going to hang on it to here and win this heat number 3.
Heat number 3 going to go to Dylan Walserman as he comes across the line, winner of heat number 3. And now we're going to be going to our consolation race, otherwise known as the B main. Still 10 laps, but the field grows. Those that did not win the race are going to be in this consolation race. That means we might be finding ourselves with a total of 13 drivers, I believe, in this field. It's going to be a large one as they're now getting stacked up and ready to go. 14 drivers.
It's me and Robert make another guest appearance here in this consolation race.
That front row gets a little bit swapped up now. Oh man, Zach, I'll give you the honors of doing the rundown here for the consolation race.
Yeah, so starting from the pole position, technically will be Scott Gerberg there from first. So second's going to be Christopher Heights. Third, we'll go to Mike Ayla Jr. Fourth's going to be Trevor Earhart. Fifth, Justin Stunnar. Sixth is Brad Ringer. Seventh, Lance Durham. Eighth is Parker Johnson. Ninth, Eddie Wildermuth. 10th, we'll go to James Lovell. 11th, David Bewell. 12th, Ian Baker. 13th, Nick Alves. 14th, Jason Fensler. 15th, Kevin Orlando Jr. Actually, no, did he win? No, so it's not. Fensler's the last one. Sorry about that. He's at the end of that list. So Fensler is your last car in 14th. And I believe all 14 cars will go into the feature here, as it looks like iRacing has updated that. So, yeah. So this race here now will just be all about, setting yourself up for that final race, as we'll have all cars on the racetrack.
Now, all the drivers that have won the featured races, they're going to be starting at the end of the line. Now, wherever you place, it's going to be inverted on how the featured race is going to be lined up. So it's going to take some time for everyone to get that set up. So after this 10-lap consolation race, we are going to have a 5-minute warm-up time for the drivers to get settled up, recoup, and then we'll have our 40-lap featured race tonight for the All-Star race. The t-shirts on the line and a lot of pride to see who can be the driver to proudly say, I won when we were racing at Monza, turning right. Usually turn left in NASCAR Cup cars. This is one of the few times you get to go left. And Zach, you touched on it during Heat 1, but the setup that these drivers are working on, this is going to be, the setup is made to go left and not right.
Yeah, and with this many cars, it's going to be wild because there's not going to be as much space here. 6 cars, 5 cars we had in those heats. Now 14 cars, it's doubled. It's going to be a lot more treacherous, and like you said, the setup just meant to go the opposite way on the track. So the car is definitely going to feel weird. I'm telling you what, these drivers are doing an excellent job to make it not look like that. Though I really haven't been able to tell so far as they've been wheeling them out there.
Yeah, they certainly have been doing a great job. It's been fun. Heat 2, probably the most dramatic of all of those, with how close everyone was running, and then those 2 wrecks that happened. Heat 3 certainly had its drama, as well as you had the 2 front runners making contact with one another. And then Heat 1 wrecked early, and then they pulled away from one another. This could be a very similar thing. I don't know if caution flags are on for this consolation race. We'll see if a big one happens or if anyone gets spun around. Well, we've got ourselves here 14 drivers, 10 laps here at the Monza Oval, turning right. It's the B main right before the featured. Green flag is out in the air, and it's time to see who survives here in this consolation race.
Survival of the fittest here for sure. Going to be a big topic of discussion here. And these drivers are going to figure out the way to make it through these final 10 laps here. Oh, and already contact with Trevor Hart in the wall on the 45.
Yeah, they're going to be trying to push each other out of the way. That front about 4 still just rubbing on one another and trying to put each other into the outside wall. It's going to be Aleo Jr. as well as Kernberg doing a great job being side by side, but it looks like the 74 might be blinking slightly, which is terrifying at a track where you're bouncing and moving so quickly, and also being a driver that's up front.
Yeah, and if he's blinking, you also know that's a little bit of a network issue there, so you don't want to get as far as the yellow there, down slides over the second right against the back bumper of Kernberg off of 4. As you can see him jump out of turn 4, man, that's such a cool shot.
They are literally jumping a couple of inches off the ground when they're coming off of 4. And oh boy, you just see the arrows. It's basically the straightaway they're on is the normal road course straightaway, and then it funnels into when they have to turn into corner number 1. They've got to be careful to make sure there's enough space for them to come in, but they're starting to single out up front, but side by side through the middle of the pack.
Oh, wow, and there's, major wreck. Another one.
Wildermouth's going to be involved in this one, and also up front, coming into corner number 3, they are flipping 3 cars, flipping end over end. Oh no, Alves, Baker, and also it looks like it might have been Johnston, Durham. Oh my goodness, over half the field in shambles now, as here is your Freaky Fast broadcasting replay of them flipping over Alves, Baker. There's Alves just scraping on the ground. But this is the consolation race. No yellow out. We stay green. As up front, we've got a total of, I believe, 5 cars still in line and able to be making their charge. As we have a little bit of technical issues as we're trying to get things back situated. And now we are back in line watching these drivers. And this is going to be Loveland just hanging out, watching these drivers in front of them and waiting to see what type of moves they're going to make.
Wow, what a wild wreck here, but still, different drivers up here up front still survive through that there as 8 to go. When we come to 7 to go, they're racing hard for the leadoff corner.
Yeah, I mean, already took down most of the drivers to back half the field up front. You now got a total of 6 cars that are still running close. And at the end of this line, that's going to be Finsler of the 5 machine. We know that he is very good at winning. He's won the most this season in the trucks, but in the cups, this is a different beast, as well as returning right, so completely different from what the 5 machine's been used to. But still in line, Heights gets spun, and now gets airborne, continues to flip. That's 3 out of the top 6 out of this race now, as there's more going around. It's just Finsler and Loveland pulling away.
Wow, they were spinning like a top of the back straightaway. Oh, they're still flipping.
This is a 33 just flipping and still tumbling over. Might ask for some help. We'll see if the 25 gives that help. Oh, and he teleports away before he can get the bump. Oh, no.
Oh,
We're down to 2.
yeah. Other drivers up front now is man. I think that's the record number for a 10-lap heat race of cars. It's got to like.
I mean, that we had
at
3
least
or 4
5.
the first time.
Yeah.
And then we just had their 4 again. So at least 8 of our 14 drivers went flipping during this race.
Oh,
and
man.
2 of them have survived all of the carnage while the rest of the field is still trying to scatter around.
I'm telling you what, too, they barely made it through. They were, I mean, one of the cars flipped over top of them. They drove under them.
I mean, Heights went airborne and was just floating over everyone. And then Stunner just went flipping as well and didn't stop for at least another 30 seconds or more. But you see here, battling for the lead. Finsler trying to figure out where he's going to place this pass. Left was just hanging out. Both these drivers were just about 3/10 back, just utilizing the draft to stay with that front pack, survived, and now they're trying to pull away as the 52 just a little bit too far back, and there's no one close to him to try to utilize the draft. So David's now just waiting on possibly the front 2 wrecking themselves if he wants a chance to win this thing.
Yeah, he's going to definitely need that to happen here. You see Finsler, he's in a great position here to be able to set this up. I'm wondering if he's going to wait. Is he going to wait? He'll love when a smart cat too. These 2 drivers battled all season long for multiple wins so far. So you know they're going to be battling hard here in this constellation for bragging rights heading off into the future. But man, what a crazy amount of racing we've seen here tonight. Thank you to all the fans, of course, for always tuning in. And shout out to all the people in chat. You got Brandon Colley and my buddy Cedric Hunter, both my buddies out there. Thank you guys for tuning in. And yeah, we're going right on the oval tonight, man. It's wild stuff here before we go.
Something that you don't really get to say in NASCAR ever is you're going right, but it possibly a chance for the pass. Finsler just waits, but they're coming up to lap traffic in front of them. That's going to be Alves, as well as I believe that might be 21 of Heights that they're coming up to. It is Heights. So our leaders, what once was just a 2-car pack might turn into a 4-car pack with lap cars and lead lap cars.
And that's going to have a huge effect here. It'll be interesting what the lap cars do here and how they race this. It looks like they're pulling low here, maybe letting the 2 lead cars go by. Yes, they do. So we're going to let these 2 battle it out here with 3 to go. And we'll see which driver can. This will be a lot they can learn here for the future. I would be trying a lot of stuff to see if you're in this position at the end of the race. How do you make the pass?
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of knowledge. We've seen the heat races of. I think the real thing you got to take from all this is speed. Survive the big ones. There might not just be 1. There could be 8 that show up in our featured race. There is no damage for these drivers. Everyone's making it into the 40-lap featured race later on. This is just this consolation race. It's all about where you're going to be placed on the grid. And these drivers trying to figure out if they're going to be placed either fourth to last or 5th to last, starting out the featured race.
Going down here into 1 now, all over the backbone. Finsler is just not laid off the rear bumper of Loveland here, as I think it's all going to come down to timing. And right here, I think he's going to try to set him up here on that white flag lap to make that pass off the floor. We'll see if he can execute it, but it's going to take perfect execution from him on the driving side. We'll have to watch if they can do it, though.
I mean, Zach, you talked about the bubble, right? There's a little bit of an air bubble between the drivers that just came in with the new iRacing update. And with that bubble, once you get inside of it, is it hard to get out of that, or are you kind of stuck where Finsler's at?
Yeah, the biggest issue is breaking through that bubble going forward. You know, he can roll out of the gas, of course, to get out of that bubble, and you can try to reformulate some here as we just took that white flag. You know, you can reformulate a run, kind of lay back a little bit, get that huge run, and hopefully break through that bubble. But at the moment, you just get to that person's bumper, and it just seems like you push them away, and you kind of stay the same. So it's definitely interesting, and it's more realistic. Definitely, it's more similar to what we see in real life here. Is he's going to make the move here down the back straight, I think.
As Height's going to be getting out of shape behind them out of 2, but it's going to be the battle for the lead. Loveland, Fensler. Fensler's going to have to deke low. Deke high, trying to make a move coming out of 4. He gets close to the bumper, hasn't bumped it yet, but the 5 machine certainly going to be trying a very daring move here as he's trying to set up the pace. He goes high, gets the momentum, going to be off the bumper. Great block by the 56. Is it enough as they're coming across the line? Loveland's going to get into 56.
Great try there for Fensler, but just not enough to get to that quarter panel. He needed to get to his inside. He tried to dart out there, grab that quarter panel, pull him back with that side trap. Did not work. I think if you're going to try to make that pass, you're going to have to try to get either inside or outside of him on corner exit so you can get that side draft executed pretty early coming to the line.
As all the drivers, they found the jump and they are launching on the back stretch as they are now going to have some fun here. Drivers have just gotten done with the consolation race. The next featured race for us is our featured race of the night. 40 laps here. You got to see 10 laps of what that's going to be like. 3 heat races as well. But now we get the full grid of all the drivers set up for this race. It is going to be a fun one as the drivers are going to get a 5-minute warm-up time. And as they are getting a warm-up time, we'll take a quick commercial break. We'll be back for the 40-lap featured race here tonight. My name is Sam Dyer with Zach Hall. Thank you so much to Robert Moyer behind the scenes. But we'll be right back for this 40-lap feature. All-Star Racing here at Monza. You got to see 3 heat races, a consolation race. It totaled up to 40 laps. Well, that was split up. This time, it's 40 laps here for these drivers. One time around, we'll see. Monza has been wild. They're turning right here in this Underdog Racing All-Star race. It has been a fun one so far. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. And behind the screen, working all the cameras, that's Robert Moyer. Thank you so much for joining us here for the All-Star race. It's been crazy and wild. Zach, we've seen a lot of big wrecks, and I think we're expecting to see that continue on.
I think we're going to see carnage in this 40 laps, man. I know. Oh wow, someone's on the road course section. See there, they're going down there to 10. Oh, I can't remember the corner now. But I'm making fun. I'm making myself sound very unintelligent right now for some reason. But I tell you what, this track's got me all worked up, man. It's really throwing us for a loop here, turning right, and I can't tell you what we're going to see in the future other than carnage, really.
Well, those 3 heat race winners, they're on top of the board. That's going to be Stefan Lett, as well as Kevin Orlando Jr. and Dylan Walterman. So those are your top 3. And here's the rest of your grid. The drivers that are going to be all the way at the bottom, that's going to be Zach Hall and Robert Moyer. They were uninformed that they were going to be having a chance to race here tonight. So they're up in the booth, but their cars, they did have a spot there, as we're going to have a total of 17 drivers trying to make their run. Zach, it's been a wild one here tonight. 40 laps. It is going to be crazy. A factor we have not thrown out there is fuel. I have no idea what the fuel run is going to be like if these drivers stay green. Believe caution laps are on for these drivers. So if the big one happens, they should be recollected back up. And a lot of unknowns here tonight.
Well, that kind of threw me for a loop there, thinking about fuel mileage a little bit, doing a little calculation in here in the brain. I think it's going to be very close. I mean, normally at a 2.5 mile super speedway track such as Daytona, we're normally doing right under 40 laps. So can they do it here at Monza? It's 2.64 here, but does the fuel mileage a little bit better? There's definitely some varying factors. But I think these guys can definitely bank on a few cautions there, possibly, to let them get fueled up, as I believe the cautions are on for this main. From what we know, we were informed. You never know; it could turn out they're not. But we'll see. We'll go with the roll with the punches and see how this feature plays out. But man, all about bragging rights tonight. Nobody thought they'd come in here tonight in 2021 in the Underdog Race League and said, "Hey man, I want to race where we only did right-hand turns." So they're going to have that huge bragging right to take to them each and every week.
2021, it's been a bizarre year. We got to see dirt at Bristol here this past weekend, and now we're seeing cars driving right in stock cars. It is a wild year for sure. Re-looking at it, the drivers do have 1 set of tires in pit road, so I think they are setting up at the halfway marker to come into the pits. Because I was about to say, if fuel's not an issue, tires certainly should be one with how aggressive this track really has been.
Yeah, this place I think is going to eat the tires up, and I think exactly right about that. About you're going to need tires by the end of this thing, as they've got them all lined up, and we're going to get on here. I'm so excited to see how this plays out. Hopefully, we can get at least 8 minute green flag racing here and put on a heck of a show.
Mike is laying back, and if you've ever watched old NASCAR clips, you know what he is doing. He is doing what we call the Kyle Busch strategy. Stay back, let the field take the green while you are able to build up all this speed and take off. He's the car that's going to be on the outside, last row, so he has this chance to get that speed built up and try to really sling it to the inside and try to make as many passes as possible. This could be bringing out a big wreck here early as they're coming out of 4. Already a little bit of bumping going on with the 9 and the 27. Pace car rolls off. Our featured race, it's the Underdog Racing League All-Star Race here in Monza Oval. It's green flag in the air.
Exciting start, man. Let's see how it all shakes out as they go down the 1. It's going to single file out for the first 7 cars side by side for that 8th position on back.
And might be wondering what happened to the 74. Well, he stayed back. I think he might be going with the strategy of I want to save my car, as he knows the big one is always looming. Yes, it's 40 laps, but we already saw in 10-lap increments from the heat races to the consolation race, big ones were brewing after only 3 laps of hard racing. We'll see, have the tempers calm down in the little bit of a warm-up time that they've had, and also understanding it's a long race. You don't have to be aggressive soon. Looks like they're side by side, coming here to almost for fourth place. Go back out. I think drivers really searching where are the bumps and where can you build up that speed.
Man, this is such an interesting thing. I got to give credit to the owners and admins here at the Underdog Racing League as we start lap 2. What a creative idea here to take right-hand turns tonight on the Monza Oval. And I tell you what, I mean, it looks fun.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly has been a great time up front. It's going to be the 9 doing a great job holding on right now. Walterman and Fensler. This is the first time Fensler's been up in the top 4, starting in the top 4 in the feature race or in the consolation race. He's been starting all the way in the back for all of those races, so it has to be comforting for him knowing I don't have to work so hard early on in this race, but they're starting to get a little bit loaded up here as they're side by side for second place.
And that puts Fensler now up to second. And he's been second the whole time as the leader gets into the wall. Let's go on the check up off the corner. Loveland there going to have to slow down. Orlando Jr. coming into the picture now in the 27.
Loveland almost got sent into pit road, and the scary thing when you get to this front stretch is you're either going to get bumped because drivers getting loose off the exit and sent to pit road, or that outside wall. Entry of corner number 1. Seen a couple of drivers having at least maneuvers, but so far keeping it clean as they are still racing hard up front.
Keeping it clean here in the first 3 laps. What great racing we're seeing. These drivers don't have damage on the cars either, so they are being very smart and patient here, even with some great side-by-side action. So fantastic start to this all-star race.
Yes, there's an advantage of how fast these drivers are rocketing around this course. If you make one single tap, you're either going to put your car in a very slim place where they are driving straight down to the green wall, but yellow flag comes out. Trevor Ehart going to be the first car coming out of 4. That's where we're going to have our first caution for the 25.
First caution of the night, like you said there. It looks like, yeah, Trevor Ehart there sitting.
Going to see coming out of the corner. Loose, overcorrect, not wanting to hit the cars on the inside. And it's just not going to work out for the 25 machine. Yes, he brushes the wall here, which this is what gets his car very unsettled. Tries to correct it, overcorrects into the outside wall again, sees the 14, just decides to loop it around, and you're going to see this wall grab the 25, and luckily there is no damage, or his day would have been done with that type of a contact.
Oh, that would have been major damage if there would have been no damage or damage was on. He would definitely had engine, that front end probably ripped off. So definitely luckily there. Now he gets the reset. Here's this caution, so it's going to help him out. And so far, one wreck, but really a small one. I tell you what, for the beginning of this race, it's definitely already shown these guys can get it done side by side without causing too many issues. And I think we could have a fantastic little battle here coming down to the end. We'll just have to do good position themselves in the right spot. And when is the timing to come to pit road and get those tires that you have? That's what we got a question.
You got to wait until halfway. You cannot. I don't think you can really pit early. If you're going to be wanting to make aggressive moves later on in this race, I think you really need to save your tires. But I think pitting here and going for a splash of fuel, I think that's not a bad choice. But Orlando Jr. going to be trying to fake out the field. The first half of the field is going to be staying out, as it looks like from 13th on back, being led by the 33 machine. They're going to be coming into pit road trying to get that splash of fuel.
They're going to get some fuel. That might not be a bad idea there for the drivers to hit some fuel and not take tires. And like you said, definitely got to wait till the halfway point to do it. It's just going to be interesting to see how much fall off is here. This isn't a normal oval track we go to. So, how much fall off is there? Do we see a good bit of fall off? Do we see a slight bit of fall off? I mean, really the drivers probably in practice might have found that out a little bit. So up here in the booth, we'll just have to see how that plays out. And we could see some fall off where tires really become important. And say you save a set, you get a caution down the end, because I expect a few more cautions. You never know. You time it right, you could be sitting there with the freshest tires in a very fast race car.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of a course that has even similar banking to this course. I mean, there's not many that are like this where the banking is so aggressive, and also you can carry the speed so well that you actually can be running on the apron. So now the question of if you're running the normal course line where it's been bumpy and aggressive, is that wearing your tires out more than you just cranking the wheel a lot more on the apron where it's a lot more flatter? There's not as much contact as a driver that's having fun in the backstretch. Aleo Jr. Decided to play patty cake with the inside and the outside wall, knowing that there's no damage, but just trying to entertain himself in the back half of the field.
Uh, and the fun you can have when you're just messing up the news. Actually, man, did he actually? I don't know if he did that on purpose. Actually,
It's hard to tell. He's been very odd at the start of this race, so it's difficult to see.
You almost want to think he was messing around there, but it kind of looks like he clipped the grass and was trying to wiggle the tires around. Just kind of lost it here. So, I mean, with the way the setup is too, wanting to turn left, I imagine wiggling it back to the left like that. That big right rear spring, it's going to want to turn back left that these cars have. So he could have definitely got a little bit loose there as he hit that grass when that right rear spring loaded up, and lost it on the caution laps. But like we said, no damage, so no harm, no foul. Maybe just a little bit of damage to the tires, though.
Yeah, I mean, these drivers are working with fixed setups and no damage, luckily. And the question that I also have is, now that we're getting stacked up, we're going this time by, is there are small adjustments that you can make to try to, change up the way that you drive. You can mess with your steering ratio, your offset a little bit. You think that maybe because this is more set up for turning left, that these drivers could have been messing with their offset to try to counteract some of the turning that the wheel wants you to do?
That's very possible, actually. You could play with that offset to help, make the car want to turn a certain way with a certain amount of wheel. And it's definitely something they'd have to play with. And that's, with a fixed setup, we don't have any changes except for that. We got our steering ratio, our steering offset, and our brake bias. Those are the things we can change as drivers in a fixed setup. And those three things are very useful. You can make considerable changes to make stuff feel better and more suited for your driving style with that. And it makes, gives us a little bit of customizability with the fixed setup. So it's fun to mess with that stuff and optimize your feeling out there on the racetrack here.
Well, we'll see if once we talk to some of these drivers at the end of this race. I mean, I would imagine they are whoever finishes in our top three and we get to interview, they are going to have a lot to talk about. As this has been a for some maybe our first time ever running this course, first time doing an oval turning right. So we'll ask them those types of questions. What type of little adjustments did you have to make to get ready for this race? But we're ready to go green once again, as this was our first caution of the day. We have a feeling this won't be the last one, as drivers are stacked up, ready to go. We got the 927, 556, and 76 lined up, ready to go. That's your top five. Pace car getting ready to turn right into pit lane. This is the Underdog Racing League All-Star Race here at Monza. We're turning right here tonight for 40 laps. Green flag back in the air, as it looks like Kevin Orlando Jr. sitting back just a little bit, getting a great launch for himself on the inside. We'll wait and see if anyone else can start to follow him, as Benzler tries to get side by side with the 9 as well.
Wow, what a start for Orlando Jr. As Steven going to fall back in the 9 to third, is looking to jump out to the outside. Benzler going for the lead off the field.
What power move. The 9 continues to try to hold on, but Benzler straight to the lead after the great start that he had. And now it's the question of where do you place your car. It's on board here. Lieberon with Ringer, and Ringer just sitting in 5th place. You can just see here on the hood, there's not a lot of space to put yourself. As into the wall, it's going to be the 9, and they still stay straight. As old Ringer goes around, and this could be flipping. And there they go. Carnage coming through turn 4 as they exit out.
Oh, man. That's the big one. The first one. The big one counter. We can click that one off as 1.
Yep. And that's caution number 2. And this was expected to see. And these drivers certainly are trying to get aggressive here. And I think the wall is what really started this. Is here's your Freaky Fast replay, and you'll see the smoke. They got 3 wide into the wall, and cars are going to be tumbling, even coming out of turn 4. But there's the clip. And that outside wall, that guardrail, doing a lot of great job saving these drivers so they don't go flying off this course. But here's more tumbling going on. The 9 twirling, the 88 flipping. Alves goes for a twirl. I mean, they are just being tops that once a car's already airborne, once they hit another car, they go up once again as Alves probably went for the scariest ride of them all, being launched about 3 different times.
He he was out there doing all types of tricks. Don't does he land on all fours? We'll see. Come on, Alves, you can do it. He does. I think he sticks it.
Oh, no,
And he's been stuck.
and gets bounced once again.
Oh, yep, one more bounce.
Oh, man. Well, he's got the first big one of our featured race. Oh, man. That was your freaky fast replay of wreck number 2.
He might have less wear on his tires. I mean, when you're flying in the air, the tires aren't getting anywhere. So he flew at least a good couple 100 feet. So maybe that helps some tire wear there. A little bit of tire wear hack there. If you fly upside down, you never know. Might have some fresh tires. So
Possibly.
it's just this wild race so far. And I expect nonetheless here. I mean, it's just such a hard track to go 2x2, and you get big runs, and it's bumpy, and you ain't got no damage. So you're going to always push it that little bit more when you know there's not consequences. So drivers definitely taking chances here tonight in the All-Star race. And it's the All-Star race. That, we're throwing a lot of things together that make for what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to be slightly professional about this, but this is such an unknown for both of us. This has been a fun all-star race to watch. I mean, all the heats and the different flips, it has been a blast. And, it makes sense now why they said, hey, we're going to turn the damage off and just let you guys run wild. They certainly have been doing so. So from 11th on back, all came into the pits, and most of those were the drivers that were involved in that wreck. Most of them just went for fuel only. There was a driver that looks like went for tires early on. That's going to be Christopher Heights. And Heights now will be kind of our control car to see what fresh tires are going to look like with a 9-lap difference.
Well, he decided to take them pretty early here in the race. Oh man,
and he's already using them up. I mean, why not?
Yeah, why not? Brand new. He's probably gonna wish after a little bit he could get those 9-lap used tires.
Yeah, I mean, all these drivers only had one set in pit road, and that was actually a discussion that the drivers were having before we went green. Was how many tires do we have in the pit stalls? And a lot of these drivers were expecting it to be unlimited tires, and it doesn't look like that's going to be so. As I think there's some cars sliding around in the back. As the 9 and the 12, as well as the 48, they're making some spins. Luckily, we're still under pacing, but I think Parker Johnson's having some issues, as he is still twirling his car around.
Oh man, yeah, he's luckily got it back going and back straight. Definitely, have a little bit of fun. It's a night where these guys can relieve some of the pressure throughout the season. It's been a long season so far, and right now you're out there having fun with the competitors you race each and every week, and building a little camaraderie out there. So a little bit of horseplay every now and then ain't too bad.
Oh boy. Listen to the drivers, and it sounds like the 74 confident that he can get himself up to the front. We saw him messing around in those first 6 laps, and now it sounds like the confidence level is kicked in, feeling like he can get himself up front. And for a lot of these drivers, they might be feeling that, hey, it's been 10 laps, got a little bit of a feel of what it's like being cautious, but it's also racing. Let's get aggressive. Let's make some moves that you would not make in a normal points race, because there's no damage, there's no points on the line. Yes, there's a t-shirt, but that's if you win the race. There's still a long time before we get to the end of this thing.
Long way to go, that's for sure. I mean, we're only going to be hitting that quarter mark here as they take that next time by there. And ALO Jr., they're feeling confident, I guess, on himself. And I tell you, he's usually a driver that waits and is pretty patient. It'd be interesting to see if he starts to push here. As we see him at the beginning use that patience, but now he's up to 7th in position. Does he start to push that 74?
You can see there on screen the tire tracks of drivers that decided to take optional routes, underpacing.
You know, we might as well add a grass track to the list. You know, we're racing right on. Oh, we've done dirt at Bristol. Let's just race on grass now. You know, might as well since it's down there. It's a lane, I guess. And,
I think that would be taking us to some trophy truck car courses and just turning off black flags. So just driving as fast as you think you can go, whatever you think the fastest track is.
figure it out.
And you'll get it. As up front, Orlando Jr. Fensler, your top two, as we are about to go green here for the Underdog Racing All-Star Race. Green flag out in the air. And it looks like it's going to be an even restart. Both the 5 and the 27 stay side by side, pulling both of their lanes quickly into turn number 1. And here they go, funneling into the entry of this corner. Got to be careful. Some on the apron, some running high close to the wall. All the different lanes, figuring out how to get the speed cranked up as you're heading down the backstretch.
Oh man, they're already going for it here as they head down the backstretch, like you said. 2 by 2 by 2 is everybody trying to get positions here. Ayla Jr. there to 74. You see that yellow car. He's going forward. He's trying to move up maybe into that top 3 position.
Already is just hugging and pushing that of Walterman. And they are now on top of the wall. You gotta be careful here. And it looks like they're getting close, but still, everyone's staying green for now. But they certainly are gonna be close if they continue to stay 3 wide on the entry of turn number 1. Because, oh no! There goes the 88, gonna be spun around, and they're bringing out caution number 3.
Oh man. Spinning like tops here tonight at Monza.
Oh no. Alves involved in another one, so was the 14.
Yeah, the 24 has got no love tonight from the Monza racetrack. It's just been him pretty much being a pinball to these wrecks. And wow, this stuff happens so fast here, and it's so narrow and bumpy, and it's just such a wild aspect of race on. I've seen races here before, but I've never really sat down and like paid attention to them and watched them. And this place is very tough to do, and these drivers are having a good time, but also a tough time staying out of each other because it's just so tough and narrow, the groupings.
Yeah, and the one thing that I think that really throws these drivers off has to be the width. I mean, you talk about it, it's narrow, but the actual track surface changes on the edges. There's some parts of the track that's wider than others for only about 100 yards, and then it just shrinks down again instantly. It's not a gradual merge into your lanes. It goes from, you got asphalt to then grass. You are stuck on the inside or the outside. So it is certainly a tricky track on the straightaways, let alone the bumpiness that's on these corners. And this is caution number 3, and drivers once again cycling around as pylons being pushed around. You can't always push those things around, but it looks like the 25 wants a buddy while he's driving around.
That is hilarious. This race being ran backwards like this the right style way. These cars right now, these specific Gen 6 cars, they are set up to go left the way the bodies are designed. One side of the car is skewed more than the other side with the body panels, and one side's flatter. So, the cars are made to go left aerodynamically, also not only mechanically. And with the new generation of Cup Series cars coming that we have in the future next year, 2022, those cars have a lot more adjustability with the way the update to the suspensions and just more modern style suspension geometry and just parts that you can use. So I'm not saying we could do a right-hand oval track, or they should do it, but I don't know with the new car, they technically could set it up very easily to go right-handed also because the car's going to be symmetrical. I don't know. I'm just saying, throwing wild ideas out there. NASCAR's going dirt track racing in Cup Series. Do we go opposite way racing at one point? Tony Stewart said at one point, let's do that, go one half the race one way and then go the other half the other way. And I ain't saying that's a real thing, but can we go backwards on another track? And what track could suit that is my question. It's definitely putting interesting ideas in my head.
Yeah, I think if Tony Stewart saw the racing that we were seeing here tonight, he would be very pleased on the amount of wrecks, and I think NASCAR would be happy. Certainly, the entertainment level has come to new heights with the way that this race has come through. Some massive wrecks that have happened. As
Yeah, I think Monza, definitely not the one they want for that. Just
no,
for the safety aspect is what we see tonight. Luckily, this is virtual for everybody here. We have a reset button. And like you said, Tony Stewart, I think would be eating this up right here, and NASCAR would definitely be eating their popcorn also. So they definitely enjoy their few wrecks, you know. So, but just safety wise, unfortunately, this track would never be, you know, even thought about. Just it's such an old surface. Um, but man, I'm telling you, you know, with that new car we're getting, there's going to be a lot of possibilities in the future for NASCAR to branch out there and do different things. And I'm always the type of person that doesn't like to get stuck in your ways, and I like trying new things. And I kind of this here tonight kind of just gave me some weird ideas, and I gotta, like I said again, shout out to the admins that set all this up and threw this wacky race together because you know, it's giving these drivers adversity to fight through, and that's something as a driver I want to see these drivers not. It's not easy. It's you know this is something unknown territory, and they're fighting through it.
oh no, I'm looking on the broadcast, and you can just see it. Some of the drivers, they're taking pylons with them, and we saw their Ehart early on the pacing, taking a buddy with them, and it looks like Orlando Jr. might have one inside of his engine with the way that he was bouncing around. It might have popped off now. The 33 also had one. So these drivers might be thinking, how do I keep a pylon on with me while driving around this course and seeing and testing if it slows you down or makes you a little bit faster?
Yeah, you definitely don't want to get that thing on your car. It's I think you know I know the cones used to be a huge issue. I've had a cone stuck on under my car at HPD once, and let's just say that cone was about 30 mph down the straight. So maybe one of those pylons there. I don't know if you want to get it stuck in your car. It looks like everybody's got it unstuck, but they were definitely having some fun down there with some extra little track bits and pieces.
Well, we are inching closer and closer to the halfway mark. We'll see if we can stay green to halfway, or if a caution will be coming out. Um, but man, this is an all-star race. There's no points on the line. It's all about for good fun. The winner will be getting an Underdog Racing T-shirt. Um, they've got their merch line getting set up. And speaking of merch line, us at Freaky Fast, we also have a merch line if you want to check that out at Teesprings. And as the base car pulls off, we're getting ready to go green here, as it's going to be Walterman, Orlando Jr., Fensler, Aleo Jr., as well as Loveland, your top five. Green flag in the air, and it looks like that inside line, they got a little bit of a bump. Fensler tried to get Walterman going, and it almost costed both the 46 and the 5.
Wow, that's the most wild restart we've seen so far as everybody's kind of bouncing off each other here in the mid-pack. Can we keep it clean and green here as they race off of turn 2? A lot of big runs coming through here.
Yeah, the 5 of Fensler. It seems like he's the one driver that has really been able to cut that bubble and get on someone's bumper. But Aleo Jr., he talked about it about 2 cautions ago. He was about to, it felt like he could finally start moving forward, and he's done so, up to second place now. But he's got to figure out how to get by the 27 of Kevin Orlando Jr. Orlando Jr. willing to make any aggressive blocks needed as they're coming to the front stretch.
He's showing the aggression here off of 4. Let's see what he does here. I think they're going to step run. Here comes Alo Jr. We heard his confidence. He's got Fensler behind him down the front straightaway. They're locking up a little bit side by side now into 1.
You gotta be careful, gotta get inside of the green wall, as if you're going too wide, you really gotta make aggressive moves to get back inside. They're side by side for the lead. Leo Jr. trying to figure out, and I think he might have found the speed down at the yellow line, but coming off the corner to the outside line, he's got the move, but they're wrecking behind him.
Oh, man. Big pile up back here again. And this track just having its way with these drivers. And I tell you what, Orlando Jr. being very aggressive.
No.
Oh, no, what's that?
Stunner looks like as well as the 52. They go off course and get stuck in the wall. They've got a teleport. And that's going to be 3 cars teleporting into pit road, which could be putting them a lap down here.
Yeah, it's going to put them a lap down. Like you said there, the 9. It looks like the 9 also Justin Stunner, like you said there. And I believe who's the other car? Oh, David Boyle in the 52. So like you said, 3 cars, man, and that's the unfortunate risk when you can go over that guardrail. It's not tall and it doesn't have a catch fence. You go over that guardrail, you go into the abyss here on iRacing, and you get dropped back on pit road, and it's kind of like a tow, an automatic tow for you. So, gonna lose a lap here early, but they could get it back here with the cautions that we could see. So already 4 cautions, 3 cars. There should be a couple of lucky dogs here in the next few cautions. Maybe they'll get back in position.
Yeah, I mean, I think what really launched them is they hit the little wall, dirt wall that, well, ramp, you could say, that launched them over the barrier and also got stuck into the barrier, so weren't able to get free. And like you said, there is a chance that they could, get the waiver out, but they also got to make sure they don't get involved in the wrecks if they want to get that lucky dog position. And with the ways the wrecks have been, it is difficult to not be a part of it.
Oh, I mean, you have almost nowhere to go. I mean, you think about places like Dover and tracks that kind of clean themselves, and everything goes up and down the racetrack when the wrecks, it just spreads out. This place has got kind of 2 opposite things. You got this pit straight where it gets somewhat wide here. And then all of a sudden, like you said, with that wall there on entry, it gets real narrow real quick as you go back into the old track as you're on the GP circuit here. And then on the back straightaway, it's real narrow. So you got like 2 different opposite sides of this track, and it just leads to a lot of incidents. I mean, you could be side by side here, and then all of a sudden you come into here, and it narrows by half the distance of what the track used to be. So you have to kind of siphon into that little hole there as you go down in the one.
Trust your spotter on telling you if you're clear, and also trust of, hey, I think you're going fast enough, you should get to this hole if the hole's still there once you get to the end of these straightaways. About half the field did come into pit road. Just looks like most of them going for fuel. The one driver that went for tires, I believe that's still who was it that took tires again? I'm trying to remember who took tires. I believe it was Heights. Yeah, it was Heights who took tires 10 laps ago, and he's been caught up in a couple of wrecks, been up to 9th place now. So it's a question of, it seems like the drivers are debating on how long they could go on fuel, and fuel strategy now being talked about. But with the way that these wrecks have been coming out, I don't think that fuel is really going to be an issue. You can come into pit lane whenever you feel like you're good.
Yeah, with the caution laps they've had already, I personally feel like they could be pretty close to making it. But like you said, it's going to be a question at one point. Like we're having so many little spurts that we're not really getting the wear that we normally would on the tires. Up to this point, if we were really on lap 18 here under green flag, the tires I'd say would actually show some considerable wear. But we've only had, I'd say, 7, 8 laps under green at most. So tires are on the fresher side still, I believe. So maybe somebody will wait long, or do they stretch it all the way and just keep the track position as if it keeps being mayhem and quick little cautions like this, I do not want to put myself in the back. I feel most confident out front, even though we've seen wrecks out front. I don't think you're safe anywhere, actually, thinking about it now. I need to take that statement back.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Orlando Jr., he's been up front, but, someone could easily try to dive bomb him into these corners and put him in a tricky situation. It looks like some of the drivers, though, after the deliberation on if they're going to make it or not, if they pit now, all of them staying out and feeling comfortable on where they are at now. Looks like the 9, as well as the 33 and the 52, able to get back out on track. Only going to be 1 lap down each of them, and with how quick these cautions have been coming out, they should be getting those lucky dogs. Looks like the pace car lights are off. We're going this time by.
Yeah, back to racing here. Going to be getting near that halfway point, Sam. And I tell you what, we have not seen the end of it here. It's going to be wild all the way down to the end. Who's going to win the All-Star race? Who's going to get the bragging right of winning here at the right-hander at Monza?
All-Star race t-shirt there on a chance for the winner. Ooh, contact of our leaders. Bouncing off one another. Luckily, it's pace laps.
Yeah. Trying to rub a little paint off on each other, but with those non-caution laps, I think a car just actually got the lucky dog there. And
yeah, they're giving waiver rounds to those that went a lap down. So we're going to be going another lap around, possibly more, trying to catch up. So we will keep an eye out on that, on when drivers are going to be back I think that's why I don't think the leaders knew that that the lucky dogs or drivers are trying to get their laps back were coming as they were side by side. Kind of spooked them as well.
Yeah, you're so used to also, running with damage off, you still almost feel like damage is on all the ways because you just get so used to driving with, the fear of hitting something. And when the damage is off, sometimes you'll still even react to something and oh, well, there's no damage. I don't need to, it doesn't really matter, especially under caution line. So, looks like they're going to go back green here as the pace lights are out. So, we're gonna get them back going and have Kevin Orlando leading. But I'll tell you what, it was getting spicy and aggressive up front, Sam.
Yeah, and it's really these restarts on if you can get another car in line well enough and get going, you can really make some moves forward. It's going to be Kevin Orlando Jr. going to be trying to pull away, but I think really the 74 in the best spot because you got the driver that's willing to push you, but he's blinking. Is the 74, which clogs up the inside lane, and they all stall out.
Yeah, Orlando Jr. going to get about a 3-car length gap here. That should close in pretty quickly. But yeah, LO Jr. still predicting a little bit. That's going to cause issues with this close of racing here as they race off of 2. Looks like it's single file out for the most, except for one little gap up off of 2 there.
Leo Jr. is going to be trying to make a move, but he's blinking, but he's able to still carry that momentum. Not going to be ducking it to the inside. But here goes Fensler thinking about trying to push the 74, and this is a risky move because if you're carrying too much speed while that car blinks, there's a chance for carnage.
Looks like he will clear for the lead there, but like you said, just a lot of risk there with a little bit of a connection issue. Oh, fins are up into Kevin Orlando Jr., and there it is. It's going to be another wreck, guys.
Oh, boy, they're flipping. Orlando Jr. going to be spinning around and going up. Oh, my goodness. Orlando Jr. still flipping, and others following suit as they're still tumbling into pit lane. Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Oh, no.
I feel like all these wrecks just one up each other. Wildness. We're gonna have a record for I think the most flipped cars in one session here.
Most likely, as that is caution number 5. Here's your carnage replay as they are smoking and flipping. The 14 leading the groups, but oh my goodness, just nowhere for a lot of these drivers to place themselves as they continue to just tumble around. Oh, here's Orlando Jr.'s point of view. And airborne, he takes off here after that contact.
Wow.
Breaking the camera slightly after that contact on the ground and stuck in the fence. I think he was able to land on all 4. Oh, man. More cars tumbling and cycling through. That's the 46 of Walterman, I believe, that went tumbling. Oh, man. Yes, we're on board with Walterman. But yeah, that was caution number 6. Oh, my goodness. That was your Freaky Fast Broadcasting replay. We are now at the halfway point here, Zach. And now is the strategy call. Do you pit now, knowing that you will make it to the end, based on the pattern that we've seen these cautions coming out? But there's a risk of coming in because that means that you're going to be having to drive through traffic. But here they all come in, 4th on back into pit road, led by Baker.
I think if you're going to pit, if any point you decide you're going to pit, you got to do it now. I feel like at the halfway point, if you're going to try to get back up there, especially give yourself the best shot by getting in here now and set yourself up for the end. So we'll see some drivers enter. But back to that replay, I know we say this, I think, a few times each and every week. The update with the smoke on iRacing they did, fantastic. It's really added a lot of depth to the smoke, and it's kind of hard. For some reason, what is up with the left front tire on this 88 here? It looks like it's not spinning.
It might be just a graphical error, maybe. Yeah. Certainly, they're driving left, and maybe locking up that tire could be helping them through these corners. You never know. I mean, they're turning right instead of left, so we don't know what's going on.
I can't really tell if it is tracking or not. I mean, it's on my replay, of course, doing it, but I mean, it's throwing smoke off the tire, so
Yeah, it's more when he hits the brake, it seems like, and also when he turns. He's just trying to warm it up, trying to unlock it, and it's just not working. Baker was one of those drivers that went flipping, and he came into pit road, got a new set of tires, and they might have messed up on tightening the tire too much.
I've seen this happen before with the IndyCar. The IndyCars used to, sometimes with the damaged models and the tires, if you like reset or did something weird, it would your rear tire would lock up and it would never fix itself, even with a fast repair or even having no damage on it. So I've seen where this has happened before. He may have a major issue. We'll tell once he gets up to speed if it's really locked up for him or if it's just something on our side we're seeing. But I think it's locked up.
Yeah, even the drivers around him are questioning what is going on because they're seeing smoke, and Baker is thinking about going to the pit lane, hoping that would fix the issue. But if what you're saying is true, where it doesn't matter what you do, as get in contact, trying to see if that would help. And Heights certainly tried to be a hero there, but it did not fix the issue.
Yeah, it didn't work. Still locked up. We'll see if changing tires may work. Like I said, I've seen this before on IndyCar. Oh, looks like he's gonna reset the car here. Let's see if he takes off now. See if this left front spins here when he takes off. He's still got to sit here. This is the mystery of the race. What is up with the left front of the 88?
Let's go, Baker. Let's go, team. Let's fix this thing. Let's go.
Now that would be some unfortunate news for him. He actually has a mechanical failure during a no damage race.
Yeah. This wasn't scripted, as you can tell. We did not. Still, unknowns popping up. We could try to write notes and try to prepare for this, but sometimes you just never know. Hey, it's moving. Let's go. Now let's check all the other tires, though.
Right? Every other one looks good. Okay, we're good to go, boys.
All right, we're good.
Wow.
It didn't go a lap down, but pace car lights are off, so he's got to race his way back to the rear of this field as they are coming close to the entry of turn 3. Oh, man. Zach, you just never know.
You never know, and I tell you what, if Ian Baker comes back to win it, that'll be some storyline. Got the left front tire unlocked and out here on the track with all 4 tires rolling. That's the key, and that's good to see. Like I said, on IndyCar, it used to not fix itself ever, but it seems that a reset was able to do it, and that's good to see as he'll get back on the racetrack here and have a shot at this All-Star race as we are past halfway. And let's see if we can get some green flag laps, man. It could get pretty wild here.
Big thanks to iRacing on these updates, able for us to fix these issues, as you saw there by Baker. Pace car lights are off. We're gonna be going this time by. We're past the halfway marker, and we know usually at super speedways or any racing, the intensity level raises once you get to this point. Green flag in the air. Leo Jr. gonna be pulling away in the 74 machine. On his outside though, it's gonna be Fensler. Fensler's been pushing everyone, probably been the best pushing car all day long. Let's see how he can lead a lane, trying to get up ahead and possibly in front of the 74.
Oh, looks like we're under caution again. Here's a big wreck in the middle of 1 and 2.
Parker gonna be once again gonna have some issues for himself. Heights involved. And see what exactly happened. It looks like. Oh boy. We don't have the replay on screen, but it looks like the driver might have been just caught up in that. I know Heights was involved.
Johnston, I believe. Johnston. Yeah, it was a little bit of contact actually there. It was a little bit of a checkup right before the corner, and then Orlando Jr. getting into the rear of Johnston, sending him around. He's going to hit the 21. The 14's involved. I mean, multiple cars there involved, and all it was just a little bit of contact there from Kevin Orlando Jr. to the rear bumper of Parker Johnston in the 48.
You know, we talked about, drivers having to, tire wear with the track. But when you are sliding, that's another thing that's wearing and tearing on these tires. And you only have one set. A lot of these drivers just took their final set. The only driver that has not pitted is our leader at the moment, of Jason Fensler. And, you know, for Finsler, he might be thinking, I want to stretch this out as long as possible for himself.
He very well could be trying to stretch it out as far as he possibly could here. We'll have to see. You know, can he make it on fuel? That's the question we're asking ourselves. It'll be close. We've had a lot of caution laps. If you were aggressively saving here, I really think you should be able to make it here for the whole 40 lap distance. And if he's got the track position, the caution seat's coming out, he's not sliding the tires like you said there, Sam. You know, getting involved in wrecks. He's in a good position.
Ooh, he's clutching.
Yeah, definitely saving here under these cautions. Very smart here. We'll see. And, you know, that tells me that he still needs more. He's definitely in the danger zone, and possibly if we have a green white checkered, you're going to need even more than that. So it gets pretty risky, especially with the amount of cautions we're going to have. You know, you could see a good bit of green white checkered. So got to save a lot of fuel here if you're the 5 to make it all the way to the end.
Well, TB12, this TB12 retiring early for the Eddie Wildermouth. He is done, first DNF of the evening, and you know, it wasn't because of damage. Just I feel like he was maybe just saying, you know what, that's better maybe for me just to park it for tonight.
Yeah, you know, some drivers are, especially when you keep getting caught up in stuff. You're just like, man, it just isn't my night, and I'm just inevitably getting caught up in every little thing that's happening. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a quits here, and go relieve some stress. As stressful. Yeah, a little bit of stress. Definitely, you know, these drivers are like racing horses, man. When you hold them back, they get mad. You know, they want to go out here and race, but when you get all these caution laps, you're getting just everybody riding around, and it gets to the point where some people get frustrated. Some people, you know, are out here having fun, but I'm sure there's a few drivers possibly frustrated and really want to, you know, just get forward and get going. Because I'm telling you, as a driver, we get very emotional in the cockpit, and it doesn't matter what type of race it is. It doesn't matter what you're racing for. We always want to go forward, and if you're having trouble doing that, it's going to be a rough night.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be thinking about Kevin Orlando Jr. He was up front, as well as, you know, we've seen Baker trying to be aggressive up front. Heights is a very good vehicle at passing and pushing. So those are some of the favorites that are in the back half of the field that really need to figure out how to get back up front. But with how quick these cautions have been, it's not giving them any opportunities to make those moves forward.
Not many opportunities out there, yeah. Once you know, you need a few laps is what you need. And, you know, these little quick spurts like this we're seeing, it's not giving guys a chance, and they're having to take more risk because of that, because time's running out, and the less time we have here on these restarts, the bigger the risk these guys are going to take. So that's where that term "cautions breed cautions" comes in, and I think that could be a thing that we just see constantly tonight is cautions breeding quicker and quicker cautions due to the aggression level needing to pick up to get track position as drivers get a little bit more desperate.
You know, looking at this field with the laps that are just ticking away, we're going to be going this time by. If we're going to be staying green, there's a couple of drivers in the back half of the field that we just talked about. I mean, Kevin Orlando Jr. and Heights, they've got very fast machines to get up front, but if this thing goes with quick cautions, I gotta say, Jason Finsler, he's been the best on these restarts. If he's leading or not, or running in the second row, I gotta say this 5 machine looking good. But Zach, I mean, out of some of these other drivers, who are you thinking might have the best shot to win this race?
Well, we heard how confident ALO Jr. was in the 74. He's in that second position. He's been battling there. He's always won the battle, but he's blinking a little bit. But you can't forget about Brad Ringer winning that first heat. He is, or actually not, no, sorry. He did not win the first heat. He was in the third heat and was leading there and got involved in that wreck, but he has now got himself in position. He was a very quick driver in practice, very quick looking here tonight, and maybe Brad Ringer in that 76 could be the man to watch out for here coming down to the end, 14 to go.
Unique. It's weird. Our producers thinking Walterman might be that. Walterman, remember, he won at the last super speedway race these drivers were in at Talladega. They were turning left and they were in trucks. So completely different factors here tonight. But certainly, I mean, with the draft package, you certainly have taken some elements of super speedway racing to now to this all-star race.
Oh, it's definitely got the super speedway elements to it for sure. And Those drivers are going to have to use the best they can, and these Cup cars are even different. I mean, that's another thing. This threw a whole nother thing to this. This is a Truck Series league. All these drivers are used to competing each other in trucks. Tonight, competing each other in the Cup cars here in the All-Star race, all for bragging rights in a Underdog Racing League T-shirt. So these drivers are going for it here. Let's see what they can do here as they go at the restart.
Pace car pulls off, and we are about to go green with 13 laps to go. Finsler's been up front for most of this race, still has not pitted. He's been trying to save fuel under these cautions. Maybe he can stretch it all the way, but it is going to take a lot of help if he wants to do so. Able to get a fantastic restart, and they are now, oh my goodness, they're blowing up behind the field. Early caution in that green wall on the entry of turn 1. It is finally struck tonight.
I knew at some point that wall there would catch somebody off guard. Right there is the rail starts on the entry of the corner after that start of that green wall, and man, somebody caught it. Looks like, I'm unsure who it was here, as I believe we got the replay.
Oh, it was just after the wall. It looks like it might have been that of Walterman. That could have been the initial contact, but they just go tumbling afterwards. And just the funneling into these corners and how narrow it gets into if you're running on the outside, it finally snuck up to these guys, and realization there is a wall that you can hit, and it certainly has been brutal.
Wow, the sudden deceleration of the 22. I mean, he went backwards. Like, it stopped the car from going 150, almost, 150, 160 mile an hour, and sent it backwards. And the Waltzman, I mean, he launched off it too. So that was so wild to see, and just multiple cars involved, spinning and flipping. This race has been something to see, that's for sure. As the heats, we've seen a lot of, crazy action too. But all these cars on the racetrack, it is adding up for some freaky fast mayhem here tonight.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was Walterman that initially hit the outside wall that started all of that, and he just barely clipped the wall on the entry, and away it launched everyone. Well, we're past the halfway marker. This has been a long race. When we go green, it's going to be less than 10 laps to go. I'm going to see if we can get a commercial break. I don't know if we can do that, Robert, or not, but it's been a long race, a lot of caution. 7th caution of our featured race. We'll see if these guys can go green for longer than 2 laps. It is going to be an interesting one to finish this all-star race off. We'll take a quick commercial break. We'll be back when we go green. ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Underdog Racing League All-Star Race here at the Monza Oval, but we're turning right instead of left. It's so different to see these drivers usually running in the truck cars. They're running in the Cup ones here tonight. We found ourselves with 3 heat races, 1 consolation race, and then set up the grid for our 40-lap featured race that we are now under. We've had 7 cautions here tonight. Jason Fensler up front, he has been clutching, trying to save fuel like a madman because he's the only driver that is not pitted. Everyone else we feel comfortable can make it to the end, but this has been a very hard race for a lot of these drivers. A lot of cautions have popped up, and just changing this time around, admins have made a call. It is going to be single file restarts from here on out in this race. Means everyone's going to be trying to keep themselves nice and tidy until we get to the backstretch. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall up in the booth. And then also running the cameras is Robert Moyer. Zach, it has been a crazy one. These drivers get ready to go green once again. 7 cautions. We've only got about 10 laps to go. Going to be 9 when we go green. We got to see this scenario with our heat races. How are you feeling about the end of this race?
Well, it can go 2 ways, Sam. It can go where we're going to get a quick caution here because they're going to have to get stuff done quickly if you're going to go up here and challenge for this win in the final 10 laps. We'll have to see how it plays out, though.
No damage and no worries as drivers see the pace car pulls off. You got 9 laps to go if you're going to make all these moves. As green flag getting ready to be waved, green flag out in the air. Fensler trying to get the best run that he can as drivers already scattering in the midfield, but up front in our top 3, they're starting to pull away from the rest of the field.
Oh, you got a little bit of side-by-side action going on back there. I'm unsure what car it is around the bottom, but he is making ground up on that bottom lane. Drove all the way up to that 5th position in that car. Looks like the 21 at Christopher Heights.
Heights, who was one of those early drivers to take tires as the 9 hits the outside wall, comes back and starts carnage here on the backstretch. Another caution. Baker also involved. And Baker is still flipping. Oh no, he goes up into the guardrail, up onto the hill, and he is stuck. Oh no, he's going to have to take a tow and possibly get a wave around if another early caution happens again.
Oh, man. Yeah, he is stuck there. Going to have to get back around. And that was Heights there racing off the exit of the 2 there. Getting a little contact as we'll see here on the replay.
And off. Oh, that is, I mean, for the 9, that is probably the lucky spot he can hit because he was just about to hit that little notch on the backstretch. There was a little bit of an opening. Baker not lucky though. Contact with the 9, and he tried to save it. You're going to see him hit the guardrail and his car just explode and go tumbling and off over the guardrail up into the hill. He'll send himself. And man, it's just, you see there the camera goes dark because he is now scraping on the ground. It's difficult there for the 88 as he's still spinning around, and then he'll launch it up into the wall and gets a little bit of help there from Orlando Jr. Puts him outside of the racing surface.
Wow. Yeah, you can see him there slide back down and do a little bit, another twirl, maybe a little bit of flip over. Yes, he's going to fall on that guardrail and then be stuck. So, got 2 wheels down. Well, no, yeah, two wheels down is not the front 2 up in there, but didn't think all 4. But work on the lane next time, Baker, and you never know. You may get over that guardrail, but yeah, this race has just been wild. And coming down to the end here, I wouldn't expect more than a couple laps maybe green, just due to the fact these drivers, I mean, are going to have to make something happen. And we've seen the 21. He drove all the way up to the 5th position on the bottom, and
yeah,
like,
but he's now coming into the pits. Looks like Heights might have burned up his fuel, possibly. He was one of the first drivers to pit on, I believe, lap 8 or 9, and now he'll be getting some service done for himself. It looks like we do have another driver that has parked it for the day. That's going to be the 52 of David Bellel, who's going to be done. So 2 drivers DNF. We're down to 15, still on track. Technically 13 at the moment. as it looks like Heights is been in pit road way longer than I was expecting for the 21.
Yeah, looks like he's still sitting there, so he may be done. Maybe. Let's see, he may have pulled that thing up, but we'll see if he gets going. But at the moment, Finns are looking to take another win here. Been a dominant season so far. We've seen. Can he be the All-Star winner? Mike Yellow Jr. No, he is yet to get a win this season. Can the All-Star race be the race where he breaks through, and can he carry that momentum into a truck race where he can get a win too? So I mean, that's another thing we'll have to see. I mean, you can't really take much from here. I mean, we're turning right, but you can say, you were the driver of the win and made the most out of this. So
Oh, certainly.
you
As
never.
Corey wondering about what the 24 is doing of Nick Alves. Alves has been doing a good job here in the second half of the race. First half, though, he was a pinball, getting knocked around. He went flipping a couple of times on these cautions, but he is running right now in sixth place. Man, he's certainly one of those drivers that has the speed to be up front. It's going to be it's going to take a while for him to get up there with drivers restarting single file.
Now the next question also is, how many green white checkers do we have? Because Finsler, if I'm him, that's what I'm fearing. I mean, with the amount of cautions we had, I think he save plenty of fuel. He's got to be thinking about green white checkers though. That's the only reason why I think he'd still be saving fuel. And I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it. I think he'll not want to see those green white checkers. Definitely. He wants the shortest racer possible, but he's definitely trying to set himself up for that, I believe.
Ian Baker going to be given a wave around, trying to get himself back on the lead lap. So that's going to be giving us another lap under caution, as pace car lights will be going off this time by. So we're going to be going green with 5 laps to go. Before we, finish out this race, do want to let you know these drivers, this is All-Star Weekend, and they will be having a lot more fun races going on as we are in the middle of the regular season. We continue on with the truck season next week as they go to North Wilkesboro short track racing after a couple of mile-and-a-half and mile courses. Go to the one of the funner short tracks to go to that iRacing has added. North Wilkesboro, going to be a fun one to watch.
Oh, North Wilkesboro is going to be one heck of a time here. Make sure not to miss that on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. As North Wilkesboro, like I said, it's just a historic place, and it really is just great short track race. It's one of the best short tracks ever, and we'll see what these guys can do with the trucks. I'm sure it'll be a fantastic race and a great way to kick off the second half of that regular season before we get them playoffs kicked off and it gets to the real pressure cooker part of the season.
Yeah, playoffs going to be starting in the middle of May, and that's going to be after Homestead. And we got a lot of races still to go. We got North Wilkes, and then you've got Charlotte, the Roval after that. So we're going to be in Charlotte for 2 weeks in a row. Then you go to Pocono, Talladega, and finishing off the regular season at Homestead. So quite a selection of racetracks. These drivers are getting a little bit of a feel as they're coming closer and closer to the end of the regular season into playoff time.
A lot of variety these guys are going to have coming up for them here in the schedule, and it'll be fun to watch who can deal with that variety. I'm sure, this is the most variety they're ever going to get here at the Monza Oval turning right. So completely different than what anybody could have expect here. We're going to go back green flag racing here with 6 or 5 to go.
And drivers are now questioning, will a green-white checkered happen? Well, if it comes down to it, if a quick caution happens, we might be finding ourselves in a regulation green-white checkered. The drivers are lined up as they're going green here at the Underdog Racing All-Star Race at Monza. Racing down into turn number 1 is Jason Finsler leading the way as Leo Jr. going to be following suit in that 74 machine. We've seen him blinking periodically throughout this race. Looks like he's got it figured out, which is a lot more confidence in the field around him and for himself to be able to make some big moves.
Gonna have to see what does Finsler do. What does he defend? I think you got to decide to defend the outside, but then you get the guy the chance at the bottom, and you're putting a lot of faith in that driver not to slide up into you as they're going side by side for second now.
It's going to be Ringer trying to get a little bit of help there from Ehart. Ehart's going to be going way low, but a little bit of bounce there. Loveland able to hold on as they are really, really trying to make some moves. But Ringer and also Ehart, they went down onto the apron a little bit lower than you really want to be as everyone's bumping and jostling, trying to hold on to their cars coming out of 4.
Only 4 laps to go. Can these drivers mount some type of attack here as you see Yellow Jr. again blinking? So that's going to be possibly here down to the very end here as they come off of two. He's got the back bumper of Finsler, but how do you want to get through side by side?
James Loveland, he's holding on soon. We saw the glare of drivers dropping back. Here comes Nick Alves in the 24 machine, going to be trying to follow the 74, using the 74 kind of as a tow, using the draft to try to make some speed. Going to be trying to stay low. Onto the apron, you see the Nick Alves, which is where you're just bogging down, losing speed as they're 3-4 wide behind him. You got to be careful, staying as low as you are.
Oh, man, caught on the outside wall there at Lance Durham. Big run, though, as ALO Jr. took the rebound, but here comes Finsler back to the outside. Can he make the pass here with 3 to go?
Finsler going to be trying to hold on the best that he can. Going to be getting the lead, but now it's still side by side for second place. So Leo Jr. and Loveland side by side. And you got to be careful of that outside wall for Loveland. Leo Jr. is going to be blinking just slightly, which is going to be holding off the inside line. Ringer's able to get to the high side, and he'll be third in line on the outside as we're coming to 2 to go once they cross the line. But if we have a caution now, we're going to green, white, checkered racing.
Leo Jr. trying to get there. Look at this hard racing. Man, this track is wild.
Kevin Orlando Jr., we haven't really talked about him much. He was all the way in the back half of the field for the last about 3 restarts. He's now moved up to 4th place. Talk about those drivers that like to find themselves up front later on in races. Walterman, another one of those drivers that's trying to run low and making a charge late.
Got James Loveland up to that second position, also in the 56. Here comes ALO Jr. to his inside in the middle of 1 and 2. Down the back straightaway. Can we get the white flag next time by? We'll have to see here as they go down the back straightaway. Hard racing going on.
That loose sensation, drivers trying to hold on the best that they can, coming out of the corners. Somehow, Orlando Jr. held on, but I thought for sure he was going to dump it as we're on board with the 27 machine. He'll be staying low, but they're already wrecking. Orlando Jr. blinks just slightly as we still stay green, and right now Finsler up front. Yellow flag comes out, and we're setting up for our 1 attempt at a green white checker.
Oh, man, just coming to get the white flag there, and it's going to be overtime here at the Underdog Racing League, man. Finsler's going to have to save everything he can, but good news for him, only 1 overtime available. So if we get a caution, it's over.
Lance Durham, frustration for that team as he was running so well, but it looks like he might have been knocked off course, which forced him to have to teleport, and has decided to park it for the day. Another DNF, leaving us with a total of 13 drivers left on track for a chance to win here in the All-Star race. There's a t-shirt on the line. Also a lot of pride to say that you won at the turning right at Monza.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely be the first person in the history here on Freaky Fast to say you won a right-hand oval race. So something never before done here live on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We always want to thank everybody for tuning in. As always, you guys rock out there. It's been a fantastic crowd, and gonna get a fantastic finish here with the green white checker. I have no clue how Finsler's gonna have to hold him off, but Loveland here in a good position. Orlando Jr., like you said, fall right back through the field up to 3rd. You know he's gonna be aggressive. A lot of aggressive moves gonna be made here in the late last restart of this All-Star race.
Orlando Jr. and Finsler are going to be lined up, and those two, when they have been in line on these restarts, they've been really in sync, getting fabulous restarts, staying in line, and whoever's following them also gets a great run. So I'm expecting those drivers really be able to just take off on this restart. But man, this has been one of the most unique racing experiences, being able to watch this all-star race. This is our 1 attempt at a green white checkered. All the drivers are hoping that they can get to the white line and then the next flag ends it. But of course, always in the back of their mind, if you make a move too soon, you cause a caution. The race ends there. And that's just the risk of this overtime racing. And we have seen races, I mean, we've already seen in this race, cautions coming out before they even got to turn number 1. So it's a lot of pressure on these drivers to keep themselves clean and hope they can get the white flag and then put it all on the line.
Well, and we take that white flag. This is what's going through my brain as a driver. We take that white flag. There's no yellow. If a wreck happens, it's hold the gas down and go straight through it. So if we get that white flag, it could be a wild finish. Make sure to stay tuned here, everybody. could get pretty crazy.
It is going to get absolutely insane up in here as Jason Finsler, Loveland, Orlando Jr., as well as Walterman and Nick Alves, your top five. And those top five drivers, we've seen Alves be up to about third place. That's as far up as we've seen him. We've seen Orlando leading this race. We've seen Walterman leading this race at some times. Loveland has not been able to really pass Finsler yet. Finsler, since he's been up front, no one's been able to really pass the five machine. So it is going to be a tough order for a lot of these drivers up here. But I've got to say, Kevin Orlando Jr., I think since he's up there, he's got to be my pick to win this race.
Orlando Jr., your pick here. I'm gonna have to take the man out front. Always easy pick when you're picking the guy out front. But Vinsler he's had the least amount of mistakes of anybody here tonight, and I think that's just proved all season long with his domination we've seen throughout the season. He's when he's on, he's just on, and I think the drivers are going to have to gang up on him here to get by him because he's just made the right moves. Elo Jr. got by him. Then he was able to make that right move in the last moment to get back by him before that caution comes out. And, man, he's going to be my favorite here, as I believe we'll be going back green flag racing here for overtime. And the only attempt here tonight, Sam, it can't get no wilder than it's already been.
We documented this at the halfway point. Finsler has been clutching and trying to save fuel. We are in overtime. This is the most that he's been able to have to stretch. Is fuel going to be an issue for this 5 car as we're in overtime? That is a big question. Also, Orlando Jr. Doing a great job for himself. He's a driver to watch out for. Everyone in the field is pitted and has enough to make it. Aleo Jr., though, of the 74, looks like Internet has hit the 74 and has actually put him in a DNF situation. So still, we're down to 13 drivers here racing and have a chance to win this race.
As we're right on board here too, Sam, we're still seeing this 5 here clutch this race car. He's definitely still saving the fuel here. He could be worried about it, and I tell you what, if that thing stumbles at it one bit on any of these laps, these drivers are going to get around him.
Oh yeah, it is going to be a very quick pass. The biggest thing is you got to make sure that if you're going to make a pass on him, be aware that there is a chance that Finsler could run out of fuel. But if he's been clutching since the start of the race, this 5 machine certainly has been thinking long-term and big game since the start. Understanding there was a high possibility that this race was going to be a caution fest. We've had 9 cautions to put us in this overtime scenario. We've seen a lot of flips, a lot of crashes, and if we get to a white flag scenario, we are expecting more carnage to happen.
Oh, I would not be surprised to see something happen coming off of 4 if it's a white flag lap. Would not be surprised one bit at all. But let's see how it plays out here, Sam. Everybody, hold on to your seats.
Getting ready for the pace car to pull off, and there he goes. The Underdog Racing League All-Star Race here at Monza Olva, turning right. It's ready to go green as Jason Finsler. He's got the most wins here in the Truck Series. He's hoping to get another one here in the All-Star Race, running the Cup cars as we are green, going and heading towards turn number 1.
Nobody mounting anything yet towards the lead, but Walterman trying that bottom lane. He's going forward past the third place man of Orlando Jr. down the back straightaway here. Does anybody have anything for the leader?
I mean, Walterman making that apron work. It's just because everyone's trying to build up their speed. If you're going the shortest way around, you can really make that advantage. It's when you're built up on the maximum amount of speed that you got to be worried. Orlando Jr. going to be trying to duck it to the inside, and it's going to be Finsler. He's not able to defend it just yet, but here comes Orlando Jr. to the apron as Finsler stays high as they are bumping and hoping that they can stay green because they're coming around turn number 4. If they get the white flag, we race to the end, but they're 3 wide coming out of 4, and there goes Loveland. He's spinning. We haven't got to the white line, and Finsler's up front as it looks like the 5 will win this thing. It's yellow flies and cars tumble coming out of 4.
Oh, more carnage here off of 4. Looks like Jason Finsler gonna be your race winner. I believe Walterman in 2nd and maybe Alvin in 3rd here as that caution came out there. And we'll have to see, or maybe even possibly Orlando Jr. We'll have to see how it all iRacing shakes it all out here once they get the pace car cut up.
When they came across the line, it was right before See the pace car racing to get in front of these guys, but they are on the white flag. And this is it. This is where they're going to be lined up. Finsler going to be winning like he's been doing all season long. He saved enough fuel. He put himself in the best scenario. Track position proved to be the most important thing moving forward in this race. Walterman able to put himself in a great spot after the contact of Orlando Jr. and Alves. Orlando Jr. tried to make it 3 wide, just was not able to do so. But as they're stacked up, it looks like Orlando Jr. might be third place.
Yeah, I think he was ahead when that caution came out. Looking at that, when I look back there, it did seem like he was ahead of the 24. So it looks like he will take third here as they're on the final lap of this race here. Jason Finsler going to be your all-star winner here tonight, winning the Underdog Racing League's first t-shirt. So that's cool for him to get that here as they come out of 4.
And he can just tally on more and more wins that he has gotten in this series. As Jason Finsler coming across the line as the checkered and yellow flags wave as he comes across the 5 machine once again in victory lane.
Another strong showing for that driver. Here's all the drivers going by, and they're going to hit their pit road spots, and they're going to say, man, Monza was tough here tonight. Definitely.
I think all those drivers are racing to hit the jump. They're about to go on the back stretch and just launch it off the rim on the inside wall. That is where all of them are racing to, as our leader's going to go drift it up.
Oh, man, awesome stuff there. Guys had a little bit of fun there to end this all off here, but congrats again to Jason Finsler. What a fantastic win. Waltman being very aggressive tonight, getting himself up there, and also Orlando Jr. So these 3 drivers really sticking out in my mind all night, and they are able to put themselves out front here at the very end when the caution came out.
All 3 of them staying in line, running around the course, just paying tribute. I mean, this whole entire race, kind of a Polish lap in a way, with the way they were running around. It was a wild event. I mean, turning right in the Cup cars. Who would have thought that this would have happened only on iRacing here at Monza? It was a great time to see these drivers putting on a show in the Underdog Racing League All-Star race. Like we've been saying, next week we go back to regular racing back in the trucks. And this was a blast to find it. And we really didn't know what we were going to see. We knew that there was going to be carnage and explosions with the wrecks just because Monza Oval, that's what it brings out, are these massive wrecks. But this certainly was some entertaining racing to see, and a lot of close pack racing when they were able to hold on. And those bumps certainly reared their face and took out a lot of these drivers.
Oh, yeah. Nonetheless, tonight was a wild night. A first time here for Freaky Fast Broadcast at the Monza Oval, and a first time turning only right here on live on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. So Jason Finsler can say he did something here tonight that no other driver has done here live on our broadcast, and that's win here at the Monza Oval, especially going the right hand way. So congrats to him.
And Finsler's going to burn it down, and as he's doing that, we're going to wait on the drivers to get ready for wait for us to do interviews with our top 3. A lot of questions to be asked. This was such a great race to watch. Lots of questions on how they had to attack the race. I mean, for Finsler, how did he save the fuel? And also for the rest of the field, how was it turning right at an oval? We will be right back to those interviews in just a few moments.
All right, everybody, welcome back here as we're about to have our post-race interviews here after a fantastic all-star race here at the Monza Oval as we got our top three drivers here in the waiting room. We're going to first pull down Kevin Orlando Jr. in the 27 as he was able to bring home a third-place position here tonight and see what his thoughts are on turning right. Hey, Kevin, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yeah, I got you. How you doing?
Hey, man, I tell you what, crazy night here at Monza. First off, before we get into really all the details of the race and what's coming up here in this season, man, what was it like turning right on this old oval?
Man, it's bumpier than I remember. I've run a race on this track a long while ago, doing the right-handers, and it's even at the end of that race, I was still getting thrown off turning right every corner. It just not something you can get used to after running so many laps turning left. But man, that was something.
Yeah, it definitely was. All night we've seen some crazy racing going on. I mean, this place actually, for going right and these cars meant to be going left, it put on some really fantastic racing throughout the heats. The feature there a little bit of incidents there throughout, but you got definitely some good moments in there throughout where guys were just going for it and able to use really multiple parts of the track and get big runs. But coming in here, with it being right-handed like this, right-hand turns, was there anything you kind of changed up coming into this race or in practice to make it suit better for the right-handers with the limited adjustments we have with fixed setups?
I tried a few things, and nothing seemed to make any difference whatsoever. So we just kind of went into it and hoped for the best. After running good in the heats, it made me feel a lot better about the car, and we were running good up until that early wreck that we got involved in. And the hardest thing was just coming back through the field because there's just nowhere to go.
Yeah, definitely. Like it was not much space to go forward, as like you said, just really nowhere to go, as the field was just so stacked up there. But you were able to make it back to third, man. So congrats on that, Kevin. Now we head into the second half of the regular season, man. And before we head into the playoffs, what's the expectations going into this second half of the season to get yourself in those playoffs?
Well, at this point, I'm not sitting in a bad spot in points, but I'm not having the season I was hoping for. So I'm kind of switching up instead of looking at the big picture and really aiming for trying to make a spot in the playoffs. I'm just going to start taking it one race at a time. I think that's really what I got to do at this point to start, getting myself in a better position. Is just stop looking at the whole thing and just race my race every week.
Well, man, I tell you what, that sounds like a great plan for yourself to head into this last half of the regular season before we hit the playoffs. But congrats on third here tonight, Kevin. As always, before we let you go and get out of here, man, anybody want to send a shout to?
Just again, all the guys that race in this league. It's been a while since I've been in here, but um, it's just always good to be able to race as hard as we do against each other. And even though we had kind of a mess of a race here, this is a really unique circumstance, so it's not entirely surprising. I had a few close calls. I got involved in a few of them. Some of them may have been my fault. I got to watch the replays and see what happened. But being able to go hard like that is really what makes iRacing enjoyable for me. And I got to thank those guys for putting this up for us.
Definitely. So iRacing definitely is a huge part of all of this, helping make this happen, man. But thank you, Kevin. Congrats on third here tonight, and we will catch you next time, man.
All right. Thank you.
All right, that was Kevin Orlando Jr., your third place finisher here tonight. Now we'll move on to our second place man, Dylan Walterman in the 46, as he was able to bring home the second place position after starting in third. Let's hear what he has to say about tonight's Monza Oval. Hey, Dylan, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
I do.
Well, I tell you what, Dylan, a crazy race. We talked about all night and kind of a adaptability here because, I mean, first off, in a oval, here at the Monza Oval, a track that, normally we're not touching, with these cars. And now we're going right-hand turns. I mean, that's a huge curveball. And how did you handle that tonight?
No idea. We did a practice yesterday, and that was the first time I was actually at the track, so I just kind of winged it.
Now, what do you feel like the toughest part about this track? I mean, first off, looking at the track, I mean, you're going around right-hand corners, and the setups, are set up to go left. So, how does that make the car feel, and how do you, overcome that?
honestly, I don't think that was much of the factor in this. What I found was tough was trying to get through the corners with the bumps, because in the heat race, like you guys saw, I bumped Ringer and I felt bad about that. But that's what I caused him to wreck, because I got into the back of him because of a bump.
Yeah, the bumps definitely seem to be very wild out here. I mean, this old surface is very, very bumpy, man. And it was a wild race nonetheless here. A lot of fun to watch out here and a lot of fun to, I'm sure, for you guys out there beating and banging here at the Monza Oval. But, coming into after tonight, we go into the second half of the regular season, Dylan. You got 2 wins for yourself already through the season. What do you want to try to do in the final part of this regular season to set yourself up for the playoffs?
I just need to start being more consistent, because we have 3 drop races, and even with those 3 drop races, I'm already behind, because I already have finishes where outside the top 20 after those 3 drop races. So I just need to finish consistent up at least within the top 10.
Well, consistency, I think, is going to be a pretty big key for you, man. And I'm sure you can do it here, as you've shown. You've shown at times here to be the race-winning car multiple times this season. So, man, congrats on second here tonight at Monza. As it was a lot of adaptability from you drivers to get out here and go right on the right-handers here tonight in the high banks. But congrats on second. Before we let you go, Dylan, anybody wants to send a shout out to, man?
Just everybody in the league. I wouldn't say clean racing. It wasn't really that clean, but try and not get mad at each other for it being a fun race. And then you guys with the broadcast.
Definitely so, Dylan. Great camaraderie out there on the racetrack, man. Congrats on second here tonight, and we will catch you next week.
Thank you, you guys.
All right. That was Dylan Walterman in the 46 machine, as he was able to bring him second tonight. We'll move on to our points leader coming in here tonight, as this is the All-Star race. No points available, but there was a T-shirt available from the Underdog Racing League, a first of its kind. So great to see that for Finsler, as we'll see what his thoughts are on winning here tonight at the Monza Oval. Hey, Jason, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, I tell you what, man, what a wild night. I would have never expected we were doing right-hand turns here tonight when we were coming into this. And what kind of curveball did that throw for you drivers?
I don't know if it was as much the right-hand turns as it was the racetrack. The place was really bumpy. Made a couple mistakes. You just couldn't hold a groove. The place is so bumpy, but overall it was kind of an ugly race, to be honest with you. It was survival.
Yeah, definitely a survival type race. And, you played the strategy of keeping your track position up front. You got out there, saved the fuel down to the end, and was able to, make it the whole distance for 44 laps. How even close were you on fuel? Because, coming into this, we knew if it went green, of course, it would be very, very unlikely possible to get there. But, with the amount of cautions we had, was it, did you have an excess amount, or were you even very close?
Well, once we started seeing as many cautions as we did, I just started shutting it off under yellows and saving as much as I could. I actually had a considerable amount left, considering. So I just knew if we could play the caution game and save fuel, would be okay.
Well, man, you were able to do that here tonight at the right-hand turns of the Monza Oval. It was very wild, and now we head off into after this All-Star race. So congrats on getting the win here at the All-Star race for the Underdog Racing League, first off. But now we head off into the second half of the regular season. So far your season's been very, very strong up to this point, Jason. Multiple wins to your name. What do you want to see before you go into the playoffs? I mean, we got a good variety of tracks coming up. How do you feel going into those?
Well, if we can keep speed, that's the key. If we can keep some speed in the car or truck, I guess, and finish out the season, that you can build a big point lead if you want, but it doesn't matter when it comes to playoffs. So wins count. That's extra points. So we'll just keep doing what we can.
Well, man, you've been doing a fantastic job of it so far through our first part of this season, and I'm sure you'll keep that up here each and every week, man. But congrats on the win here tonight at Monza, Jason. Before we let you go and celebrate this thing, as always, man, anybody wants to shout to?
You guys for doing the broadcast, as always, do a great job. Friends and family watching, and City Chevrolet this week came on board, so that was pretty cool. So I'd like to thank them.
Awesome stuff there. Beautiful car, man. And congrats on the win, and we will catch you next time.
Sounds good, boys. Thank you.
All right, everybody. That was your race winner here tonight from the Underdog Racing League, Jason Finsler. What a race it was here tonight, Sam. Man, wild stuff in the future, but we saw a lot of great moments.
Yeah, we certainly did, and a great job by all of these drivers, and good insight hearing from all of them on how this race went for themselves.
Yeah, the insight there, hearing how they felt and handled this place was very, very cool to see. So great information from those drivers, but I believe we will be able to get our official results here. Yes, we will. So let's go ahead and go through those as Jason Finsler going to bring home that win here tonight. Second's going to go to Dylan Walterman in the 46. Third is going to be Kevin Orlando Jr. Fourth, Nick Alves in the 24. Fifth is going to go to Parker Johnston. Sixth is Brad Ringer. Seventh, Christopher Heights. Eighth is going to go to Trevor Earhart. Ninth is going to go to Scott Kierberg. 10th is going to go to James Loveland. 11th, Stephen. I'm sorry, Stephen Like. I am butchering that, and I'm sorry, buddy. 12th is Justin Stenard. 13th is going to be Ian Baker. 14th, Mike Aiello Jr. 15th, Lance Durham. 16th, David Bowell. And 17th is Eddie Wildermuth. And the two guys on the end, they didn't race. They decided not to show up tonight. So that's your race results here tonight for the Underdog Racing League for the All-Star race here at Monza. But Sam, I tell you what, didn't expect this coming in tonight when we had Monza on the schedule, and definitely learned a few things about turning right though.
Yeah, we certainly did. I mean, I think if turning right at other courses, it certainly would help the drivers out. It certainly was the bumps. That was the biggest factor that the drivers were talking about during the interviews. It was hard to hold on to your line, and we saw that. I mean, you saw drivers trying to stay low on the apron, and that seemed to be pretty consistent. If you were able to stay low, you were staying there. But if you were staying on the normal racing surface, you were just bobbling up and down and were at the will of what the track was going to give you. But a great job by most of them. Yes, we had 10 cautions, but that's what you get when you come to a track that most of these drivers aren't used to, that is very aggressive, and you're turning right. You never know what you're going to get, but it certainly was entertaining for us to watch up in the booth.
Definitely was, and fantastic time as we go back into the second half of their season. So make sure not to miss that. Next Wednesday as we'll be back here on the Underdog Racing League. But I believe that's the end to tonight, as we'll send it up to Robert Moyer Jr., our producer, to close out tonight's broadcast here at the Underdog Racing League.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for calling a great race. A tough race to call. First time here at Freaky Fast, like you guys said. Wow, turning right, bumpiness. God, we don't know what we were going to see, but I can tell you this much. It was exciting, and I hope everybody else out there thought it was exciting that watched the race. And if you enjoyed this content that you've seen here, well, make sure you hit that subscribe and follow button on both Facebook and YouTube so when you don't miss none of the action here at Freaky Fast or any of the action here with Underdog Racing League on Wednesday nights. If you are looking for a league, make sure you check these guys out at Underdog Racing League on the iRacing portal. Just head over to iRacing.com. And if you are already an iRacing subscriber, you know where to go from there. But if you're new to iRacing, make sure you check out iRacing.com for all your racing needs, content, tracks, everything that they have to offer there for motorsports racing and all that stuff. But, well, we're going to get ready to sign off here, ladies and gentlemen. Last but not least, we want to say to everybody, we got Easter Sunday coming up this week. We will not be live until next Tuesday. We will be off Saturday night. We are going to be off Sunday night. So hopefully everybody has a great Easter. Enjoy the time with the family, friends, loved ones, and all that stuff. But until then, we will catch everybody Tuesday night. We want to say God bless everybody. We love you all. Peace out.
Bye, everybody.